Today we've got a number of guests on the show to preview the Tokyo Princess Cup, including Blitzball Champ Jason Ingram, AJ from the Queenslariat Podcast, Matt and Andy from Talk Joshi, and ref Mike Fullilove. We'll also preview Summer Sun Princess, talk about TJPW's return to Texas, and wish a very happy birthday to Shoko Nakajima. All that and more coming up on the Tokyo Joshi Pod. Stay tuned. Hello to all you big children out there. Konnichiwa, and welcome to the Tokyo Joshi Pod, your weekly dose of everything TJPW. I'm your host, Andy Zyke, and I'm going to keep today's intro very short because we have so much to get to on today's show. This could very well be our longest episode of the pod to date. We are going to briefly talk about TJPW's surprise Texas announcement this week. We'll also preview a huge Summer Sun Princess show this weekend, and I will give my picks for the Tokyo Princess Cup bracket, kicking off with the first round on Monday. But that's not all. No, my friends, because we have a bunch of special guests on today's episode to make their picks for the Tokyo Princess Cup. YouTubers and podcasters and referees, oh my. I am very, very happy so many people wanted to participate in this. I really hope all of you listeners enjoy it. Maybe you even find like a new podcast or a new content creator to follow. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Let's go ahead and dive right on into the show. Huge news came out of nowhere this week as TJPW has announced their return to Texas. TJPW Texas Stampede II. It ain't our first rodeo. I love that title. There are 3 shows currently planned. They're going to be taking place between Friday, December 4th and Sunday, December 6th. On Friday, December 4th and Saturday, December 5th, we're going to be in the Houston area at Pasadena Rodeo Arena. And then on Sunday, December 6th, they're going to be in the Dallas area at Forney ISD, the OC. I believe that's like some sort of school campus or community campus or something like that. And then the Pasadena Rodeo Arena is a rodeo arena. I've never been to a rodeo arena before, so I'm not quite sure what that is all like. But that certainly sounds like an interesting venue to see some TJPW wrestling. These 3 shows, we don't have any times for them yet, but again, the weekend of December 4th, 5th, and 6th, wrestlers are to be announced. There are a few wrestlers on the poster, but I believe it was Tokyo Story or TJPW said that, hey, don't get married to these pictures. They're there just purely for marketing purposes. They may or may not be the people that show up. Ticket information is also still to be announced. It was purely just a tour announcement, but what a heck of an announcement. I'm a bit surprised that TJPW is returning back to America so soon, but pleasantly surprised at that. I will never, ever complain if TJPW wants to run shows more often here in America, and they've seen such great success over the past 2 years in Texas. I was very fortunate to go to all of the Texas shows earlier this year in March. They were a blast. The shows were packed. The wrestling was fantastic. Everybody had just one heck of a time. Tokyo Story really did one heck of a job putting all of that together, and just an absolute blast. So I encourage you all to stay tuned for more announcements about wrestlers, show times, tickets for each of these shows. I would highly encourage you all to try and make a go of it to get to Texas. I know that this is somewhat around the holiday season, and a lot of people save their travel for the Hanukkah or the Christmas or the Kwanzaa holidays a little bit later on in the month or the middle of the month, but I would highly encourage you to at least consider it. A TJPW show live is always fantastic, and these Texas tour shows have been nothing short of that. The only other quick piece of news I want to talk about today is one birthday that we have on July 19th. That will be this coming Sunday. Shoko Nakajima will be celebrating her 35th birthday. Shoko is such a terrific competitor. I've had the pleasure of seeing her live a few times, and I mean, you haven't watched wrestling until you've watched Shoko Nakajima wrestle in person. She is absolutely incredible. Amazingly, somehow, I think she is underrated for just how good she is. I don't think enough people are talking about Shoko. I don't think enough people even know that Shoko Nakajima exists, but I am here to help change that with the Tokyo Joshi pod. I want to wish a very, very happy 35th birthday to Shoko Nakajima this coming weekend. A little bit of a lighter news week in terms of number of stories, but my goodness, the Return to America announcement really was huge. Came out of nowhere on such a loaded weekend for TJPW between Summer Sun Princess on Saturday and then the kickoff for the Tokyo Princess Cup, the first round on Monday. And that's exactly where we're going to go next on this show. We have a super ultimate jumbo-sized preview for the 13th annual Tokyo Princess Cup. Now, last week on the show, we talked through all of the competitors that are entered. It is most of the roster, about like 98% of the TJPW roster. We talked all about how many appearances they've made, if they've won the tournament, how far along they've gotten. So check out last week's episode if you haven't heard it yet for some of that background information. On today's preview special, I'm going to start by giving my picks for the entire bracket, revealing my winner, who I have moving on, and then I'm going to throw to the plethora of special guests that we have to make their picks. Make sure that you stick around for everybody because maybe you'll get some good ideas as you fill out your bracket too. And maybe you'll also find a new content creator or a new podcast to follow. All of the guests on today's show do terrific work talking about TJPW and beyond. Very, very excited to partner with them for this. I was so happy that all of them agreed to come on the show. And I'm just so excited to be able to share all of their takes with you and their picks. But starting with my picks, I'm looking at the bracket here. So if you are at home and you can pull up the bracket, I'm going to start in the upper left. The first round matchup is Miyu Yamashita and Uda Takami. Poor Uda Takami got a terrible luck of the draw here going up against the pink striker. To me, the pink striker is going to kick Uda Takami's head clean off. I have Yamashita advancing. The next first round matchup will see Raku and Mizuki go head to head. To me, this is going to be more of a comedy matchup. As much as I love Raku, it pains me to do this. I'm picking Mizuki to advance there. The next one here on the bottom left section of the bracket, this was probably the hardest matchup in the first round for me to pick. Arisu Endo and Sakura Hattori. The draw that these two women got in the first round is just, it hasn't been easy. I've been scratching this one out and circling and thinking and noodling and all this stuff, and ultimately, I'm landing on Arisu. I think that this is a true coin flip. I don't think you can really go wrong with either one of these ladies. I wouldn't fault you if you had either one of these ladies advancing quite far in the bracket based on the years that they've had. But for me, just with Arisu's performance last year in the Princess Cup, her recent International Princess title run, her challenge for the Princess of Princess title, and then that showing against Spark Rush at Grand Princess, it just feels like it would be too big of an upset to have Arisu exit in the first round. So Arisu is my pick to beat Sakura. And then in the final first round matchup on the bottom left of the bracket, Wakana Uehara and Mifu Ashita. A lot of people that I've talked to have this one pretty close. They think that this is a coin flip as well. In my opinion, a little bit of a spoiler alert here for the Summer Sun Princess preview that we're going to have in just a short while. I think that Wakana is going to win that International Princess belt this weekend. And then coming into this tournament, I think she's good for a couple of wins as the new International Princess champion. So my pick here, the world's hungriest pro wrestler, defeats the cheerleader Mifu Ashita. Going over to the upper right of the bracket, the first round matchup over this side, we'll see Toga and the recently debuted or soon to debut, depending on when you listen to this, Momo Sato. This is a huge opportunity for Momo Sato to be placed into this Princess Cup literally 2 days after she makes her debut at Summer Sun Princess. That alone, for me, the inexperience just points me towards Toga. I think this is Toga's match to lose. There's also quite a size difference in this one as well, so I'm going to lean Toga. The next few matchups I do think have quite a lot of upset potential. We have Miyu Watanabe taking on Ren Kanatsu. Ren has looked terrific over the last year plus when she started her career. I do think that it's possible that we get an upset here over Miyu Watanabe. I'm not willing to bet the mortgage on that, so I am officially picking Miyu Watanabe, but I wouldn't fault you if you go with Ren here. Also, next first round matchup here is Suzume and Shion Kanzaki. A lot of similarities here. A champion, someone who may or may not be a champion coming into the bracket, a rookie who has just looked tremendous in their short time wrestling. I wouldn't fault you if you picked Shion. I truly wouldn't. Some people might think that's crazy, but Shion is still looking for that first singles victory. This could be it. She could be hungry enough. No shade to Wakana. Maybe she'll be hungrier than Wakana. But I think that it is in the realm of possibility. Again, I'm not willing to place a huge bet on that. So ultimately, I am picking Suzume to advance here. And in the final first round matchup, the Princess of Princess champion, who may or may not still be the champion going into this tournament, Yuki Arai, the genius girl, will step up against Haru Kazushiro, another one that's just had a tremendous first half of the year. I wouldn't fault anybody who picks Haru Kazushiro to upset Yuki Arai here. But again, a little bit of a sneak peek into the future preview for Summer Sun Princess. I have Arai retaining her belt, and I can't see it personally. I think Arai is able to handle Haru Kazushiro here in the first round. I have her moving on. Heading back to the upper left, my second round, the first matchup here, we'll see Miyu Yamashita take on fellow pillar in Rika Tatsumi. Now, this to me is going to be one of the matches of the tournament if we happen to see it. I mean, my goodness, if Uda manages to get past Miyu Yamashita, there's another huge animal waiting for her in the second round. But Yamashita and Tatsumi, I think Tatsumi is able to pull this one out. It's definitely going to be a huge battle between the two of them. And again, I think it can really go either way. This year's field is like wide open in that regard, but I'm going to roll with Rika Tatsumi defeating the ace Miyu Yamashita. Moving on down, I have Mizuki lining up against Hyper Misao. Probably another comedy-focused matchup. I don't think that Mizuki has too much trouble with Misao. I'm going to pick Mizuki to go into the quarterfinals to meet Rika Tatsumi. And in the bottom left second round, Arisu Endo, assuming that she can make it past Sakura Hattori, will have Chika Nanase waiting for her. I think that's a little bit of an easier matchup for Arisu than Sakura was. So I have Arisu continuing to roll on through into the quarterfinals. And then will she meet either Wakana Uehara or Himawari? Another really good matchup, another matchup that I think could go either way, especially if Wakana does end up winning the International Princess title, and maybe Himawari is able to get a pinfall over Wakana, and that sets up Himawari for a title shot down the line. That's a total possibility, but I think that this company is very high on Wakana, and I'm going to pick Wakana to move on in to face Arisu. Back over on the right side, Toga will then square off against Mihiro Kiryu in a matchup that is very similar styles. I think that one could go either way too. I'm ultimately going to pick Toga. And then moving on down, this is probably my favorite potential matchup. If Miyu Watanabe gets past Ren Kanatsu, she will meet Yuki Aino. Now, I loved the match that they had for the Princess of Princess title back in the fall. I think it was October. I want to say it was Additional Attack or All Rise. It was one of those two. But I adored that match. I thought Yuki Aino looked tremendous in that match, and in that main event title picture. Running it back here would be just a delight. I'm going to go with probably an upset here, but I'm going to roll with Aino. Mostly I think that a champion will not win this tournament. And so I'm again, another spoiler alert here. I am picking Miyu Watanabe to retain for Summer Sun Princess, or picking Daydream, I should say. So I think Aino is able to pull off the upset here. I think Aino moves on and faces Toga in the quarterfinals. Then in the bottom right, the last section here, I had Suzume. Suzume will be meeting Pom Harajuku. You can really never count out Pom Harajuku. You don't know what she's going to bring to the ring. You don't know what to expect with her a lot of the time. That said, I think Suzume is crafty enough to kind of flex to whatever Pom brings to the ring, brings to the match. So ultimately, I do think Suzume is able to run circles around Pom here, move on into the quarterfinals. And on the very, very bottom right section, Yuki Arai and Shoko Nakajima, another just banger of a match, a potential match that we might see. This may or may not be an upset as well, but I'm going to pick Shoko Nakajima. And I think that should she be able to defeat Yuki Arai, assuming Yuki Arai is still the champion, that sets up Shoko Nakajima for a future title challenge, whether she wins this Princess Cup or not. But that's going to be one heck of a matchup. The second round, the potential matchups that we might see are tremendous. That is also going to hold true for the quarterfinals and beyond, because our first quarterfinal matchup, going back up to the upper left, I have Rika Tatsumi taking on Mizuki. So much history there that we just simply do not have time to unpack today, but I'm sure that Rika will be over the moon if she manages to get this matchup with Mizuki. I'm going to pick Rika to win. I know that also might be a little bit of a shock, but Rika has never won this tournament. That is definitely worth keeping in mind as she progresses her way through the bracket. Could this be the year? She is a TJPW Grand Slam champion, and this is like one of the few things missing from her resume. So I'm going to pick Rika over Mizuki here. And then in the bottom left, I have Arisu meeting Wakana. I think this is where Wakana's luck runs out, or not luck, but momentum, I should say. This is where the momentum comes to a little bit of a halt. Arisu is just on a much higher speed of momentum, and I think both of these two competitors are going to be hurtling towards each other, and one of them's got to give. I'm going to go with Arisu. I think Arisu has had just one heck of a year, and as we get a little bit farther in to my bracket, it might become a little bit more apparent why I am riding with Arisu. Back on the right side, in the upper section of the bracket, Toga and Yuki Aino is my next matchup. This is also a match of very similar styles. I am thinking probably Aino, just based on experience level. Aino seems to come into matches with some juniors and really just, I don't want to say she wrestles circles around them, but you can just get the feeling and the aura that she knows what she's doing in there against the juniors, and she really kind of doesn't think twice about it. So what I'm trying to say there is I think that her experience level will catapult her past Toga. I think that will come into play, and maybe Toga makes a mistake, or maybe Toga runs out of gas, something like that. And Aino, calm, cool, and collected, is able to proceed on in to the semifinals. And in the bottom right, I had Suzume and Shoko advancing here in the quarterfinals. Another just tremendous, tremendous matchup that we might be able to see here in this Princess Cup. I don't know if this is also an upset, but I'm going to pick Suzume. I think that Suzume can do it. I would love, love, love to be able to watch this match should it come to pass. I'm going to roll with Suzume to meet Yuki Aino, and maybe you're starting to see the story that I am, the picture of the story that I'm painting in my head here with this bracket. My final four: Rika Tatsumi, Arisu Endo, Yuki Aino, and Suzume. Now on the left side of the bracket, between Rika and Arisu, I think that Arisu can do it. I think that Arisu is just on cloud nine here, and I think whether or not she defeats Aja Kong at Summer Sun Princess, she's going to be so motivated to get back to the finals after last year. I think she's able to defeat Rika Tatsumi and make her way into the finals. And meeting her will be either Yuki Aino or Suzume, And by now, I'm sure you've seen the direction I'm going. Another terrific potential matchup. I feel like I've said that for almost every matchup that we have here, but I'm going to pick Suzume, which will set up an all Daisy Monkey final, Arisu Endo and Suzume. I think that story has presented itself to TJPW here, and I mean, that to me seems like the moneymaker. There is certainly a lot of ways that you can go as you're filling out your bracket. I think we talked last week about all of the potential that each competitor has, but my goodness, like Rika Tatsumi could easily win this. Mizuki could go for a three-peat. Arisu can win this. Wakana, if they really want to put the ball in her court and rocket her to the moon. Miyu Watanabe is a possibility always. Shoko Nakajima is always a possibility. Suzume, Yuki Aino, like the possibilities here are truly, truly endless. For me to arrive at Daisy Monkey, to me it just feels like, one, something I would love to see. I think we all would love to see them run that match back. But it just feels like the right story. It feels like Arisu has that momentum from last year. In my mind, Suzume will not be the international princess champion coming into this tournament. So I think her losing that belt and then going on a tear here, reaching the finals, all of this just kind of plays into my picks as I get to the finals. Now, who do I think will win between Daisy Monkey? I've danced around that long enough. I've kept you in suspense. I'm going to go Suzume. I think that this sets up Suzume to then challenge Yuki Arai at Wrestle Princess, get Suzume back into the Princess of Princess title picture, and Arisu, the narrative continues that she gets so close but just can't quite pull it out, whether that is in the Tokyo Princess Cup back-to-back years, whether that is in the Spark Rush tag match, maybe that's the storyline in the Aja Kong tag match, but I just think that is such an interesting storyline with Arisu, interesting storyline with Suzume. The two of them colliding are going to put on one heck of a match. I hope that that's the way everything plays out. But again, just my picks. Like I say, I would not fault anybody for having different picks because this year is truly, truly so wide open. Speaking of other people's picks, let's go ahead and roll through some of our special guests. Now, the way this will work, I'm just going to intro the special guest briefly so you have an idea of who they are if you're unfamiliar, what they do, and then I will throw to my conversation with each of those guests. You will hear them make their picks, similar to how I just did, running through the bracket, and you'd be surprised. There's a couple of upsets in there. There's a couple of intriguing winners in there, so definitely have a listen. All of these guests are tremendous, well worth your time, well worth your follow on social media, on YouTube, on your podcast feed of choice. Definitely give them some love. We are going to start off and kick off our guests with a very good friend of mine, Blitzball Champ, Jason Ingram. I've known Jason for a number of years now, and he covers a wide variety of wrestling on his YouTube channel. Everything from WWE and AEW to Joshi wrestling to Japanese wrestling. He talks about some indie promotions. You name it, he's covering it on YouTube. Blitz and I met a few years back, and naturally we just became pretty fast friends. We watched so much wrestling together, both online, in person. We watched a couple of shows together in Las Vegas. I'm sure you maybe see the gentleman sitting next to me as I sat opposite the hard cam for the TJPW show. That's my dear friend, Blitzball Champ, Jason Ingram. I am super, super excited to welcome him on and get his picks for this year's Tokyo Princess Cup. All right, coming onto the show for the very first time, a very good friend of mine, Jason Ingram, Blitzball Champ. Jason, thanks so much for coming on. How you doing?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me on here. I'm a big fan of the Tokyo Joshi pod, so this is quite an honor.
Terrific. Your check will be in the mail for saying that. I appreciate that. No, you and I have been friends for a while now. I know we kind of got together through, I think it was Stardom, really. It was like our first interaction with one another in Philadelphia, but it has grown into all different kinds of wrestling, not just Stardom, not just Joshi wrestling, not just Japanese wrestling, but I think we watch and talk about next to everything. And I know you cover next to everything on your channels too, which we'll talk about all that in good time. But today we are here to talk Tokyo Princess Cup, the 13th annual Tokyo Princess Cup, the biggest one ever. And super, super excited to have you on and get all of your picks. So we've got the bracket up here. We're going to run through starting with the first round in the upper left of the bracket as we look at this. This is a doozy one that starts us off. It is Uda Takami with Miyu Yamashita. I have a feeling who you might pick, but let's hear who you got in this first round matchup.
I really feel badly for Uta Takami. Felt like she got the short end of the stick. Gotta go with the pink striker, Miyu Yamashita, who has won one of these before. So it's a short pick for me. I got the pink striker advancing to the second round.
You know, I toyed with an upset here because I was like, you got to probably pick one upset, right? That's always how it goes. But I had to go with Yamashita. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it with Uda. Moving on down the next first round matchup, we'll see Raku take on Mizuki. Who you got there?
Interesting matchup, but Mizuki is such a big threat, being that she's won two of these back to back. So I really can't see her being upset in the first round. I got Mizuki, the popping sugar rabbit, defeating Raku and advancing.
It breaks my heart. I have the same, unfortunately. The next one here is probably like the cruelest draw. This is one that I kind of struggled with back and forth. Arisu Endo and Sakura Hattori, two, I think, favorites going into this tournament. Who are you picking there?
I had to think over this one for a while, being that Arisa Endo was in the finals last year, but this is my first round upset. I'm actually going Sakura Hattori
Wow.
to upset Arisa Endo and advance to the second round.
I love it. I love it. I really went back and forth. I ended up going to Risu, but I mean, to this one, I don't think you can go wrong. That's fascinating. We'll have to see how that comes into play. And then the last one here on the left side of the bracket, Wakana Uehara and Mifu Ashita.
Why did they? Oh, I don't like this matchup. I really don't, because I love both ladies. But I gotta go Wakana. Gotta go Wakana Uehara. I think the matchup itself will be a lot of fun. Two are very agile, very solid in the ring. Should be a fun match, but I got Wakana Uehara advancing.
Just gonna eat up the cheerleader.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Moving up into the upper right of the bracket, we have Toga taking on who will be the recently debuted on this show, Momo Sato.
I have a feeling Momo Sato will put up a very solid fight, but she's going to come up short against Toga. But I look forward to seeing how she'll do. But I do have Toga advancing.
I think it's the first time a rookie in the most full sense of that word. She's debuting 2 days before, gets to be in the Tokyo Princess Cup. It's wild. But I have to agree with you. I think she might be in a little over her head to start out. Moving on down, we have Miyu Watanabe and Ren Kanatsu. Pretty interesting matchup.
I'm sure you know how much this hurts me, considering I've become a big fan of the winning horse, the fancy sheep, Ren Kanatsu. I think she'll definitely bring it, but don't see her beating one half of the Princess Tag Team Champions. So I got Miyu Watanabe advancing, who was, of course, last year's winner.
Or rather, it's always a safe bet to bet on Miyu Watanabe. Moving down, we have another rookie here, Shion Kanzaki, taking on who may or may not still be the International Princess Champion come this first round in Suzume.
I'm going to say Shion is going to get really close, and I think really will surprise Suzume, but Suzume advances for sure.
This is the one that I kind of toyed with in my head that like maybe this would be a first round upset. Maybe they would have Shion kind of pull some magic out and get her first victory. I ultimately went with Suzume. I decided that was a little bit too crazy, but I did toy with the idea for a brief moment. And then the last one in the bottom right, last first round matchup is also a pretty interesting one. The current Princess of Princess champion may or may not be come this first round, and Yuki Arai will take on probably the fastest rising person in TJPW in Haru Kazushiro.
I was kind of toying with this one as a possible upset. I mean, Haru, who has won a next generation tournament, but I had to snap myself out of it, unfortunately, and go with the safe pick, Yuki Arai defeating Haru Kazushiro, but I do think she will put up an excellent fight.
I think a lot of these first round matchups are going to be a lot better than they might appear on paper to some people. I think some of them are going to be really pretty good. And that's going to be 8 first round matchups on that first show, which is wild. But heading back up into the upper left, you had Miyu Yamashita moving on, taking on Rika Tatsumi in a battle of the two pillars.
And this right here is where I think it breaks all down for the pink striker because I have the white dragon, Rika Tatsumi, defeating Miyu Yamashita and advancing to the quarterfinals.
That's going to be one hell of a matchup. I did the same. I think this is, I don't know if you can call it an upset with Rika because Rika's so good, but you and I are thinking alike there. You then had Mizuki moving on to take on Hyper Misao.
This is another interesting one. Hyper Misal is one that can be crafty, and you just never know what she may bust out. But I don't think it will be enough to topple the popping sugar rabbit. So I got Mizuki advancing to the quarterfinals.
You have to imagine Mizuki's going to have back-to-back comedy matches with Raku and then Misao, and then honestly, perhaps even Rika too. So then coming on down to the bottom left, you have Sakura Hattori, and then getting the bye into the second round is Chika Nanase.
As crazy as this sounds, I have Sakura Hattori advancing to the quarterfinals, defeating Chika Nanase.
See, I don't think that's too crazy. Mine, I have Arisu, but I mean, I think Chica's just still a little green. I feel like whoever comes out of that first round matchup between Arisu and Sakura has likely got a ticket into the quarterfinals. Not to hate on Chica too much. And then bottom left, you had Wakana Uehara. She's going to take on Himawari.
This is going to be a really good matchup because Himawari has been improving more and more. I definitely believe she's going to bring it, but I think Wakana has this one, but squeaks by.
Moving up to the upper right, you had Toga advancing past Momosato to take on Mihiro Kiryu.
I actually have Toga upsetting Mahiro Kiryu to make it to the quarterfinals.
That's going to be a battle of two like strong style competitors, two very similar competitors, but I kind of like that pick. I like Toga. That's an interesting one. Next up, you had Miyu Watanabe squeaking by over Ren Kanatsu, and she's going to meet Yuki Aino.
I'm going to ride this one as much as I can, but I think we're going to see a resurgence of the Burning Venus from a few years ago. I got the Burning Venus, Yuki Aino, upsetting
Wow.
Miyu Watanabe.
I mean, this is going to be one heck of a matchup. I think as we start to get later on into the second round, the quarterfinals, the matchups start to get really, really juicy. And this to me is one that's, I think a lot of people are going to circle as that potential rematch from last fall. So that's one I'm looking forward to. Coming on down, you have Suzume going over Shion. She's going to meet our ever loving 3-year-old Pam Harajuku.
Oh, man. You know, I thought about this one for a moment, but then I had to recollect myself. Suzume gets the victory. Sorry, Pamu.
It's a close one. And then the last one here, probably a close one here in the bottom right, Yuki Rai and Shoko Nakajima.
The interesting thing with this one is, even though Shoko Nakajima has won one of these, she's been a finalist 4 times in this tournament. So I look at her as being a continuous threat. I have her upsetting, well, no, not really upsetting, defeating Yuki Arai to advance to the quarterfinals.
I have the same with mine, and I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that Arai remains the Princess of Princess champion, and then whether Shoko ends up winning this tournament or not, she has claim to a title challenge in the near future. So that's kind of the way I'm thinking about it. Into the upper left, you have Rika Tatsumi and Mizuki.
This will be quite a battle here, and I think it'll come down to the wire. But I have the White Dragon advancing to the semifinals, defeating the Popping Sugar Rabbit Mizuki.
Definitely a rivalry years in the making between rivalry and maybe a little bit of a love fest too, a one-sided love fest between Rika and Mizuki. But I think that's another one that A lot of people are going to have circled. In the bottom left, you have Sakura Hattori and Wakana Uehara. That's a pretty interesting one.
I think this is where the Sakura Hattori winning streak comes to an end at the hands of Japan's hungriest wrestler in Wakana Uehara. I got Wakana advancing to the semis, defeating Sakura Hattori.
So 2 of your final 4, Rika and Wakana. On the right side of the bracket, let's see, you have Toga, who would be taking on the Burning Venus, Yuki Aino.
Toga, I definitely see her putting up an excellent fight against Yuki Aino, but I believe she will come up just a tad bit short. I got Yuki Aino making it to the semis.
How about that? And then in the bottom right, let's see, you have Suzume and was it Shoko Nakajima, right?
So for this one's really tough. The matchup will be excellent for sure. But I have Suzume defeating Shoko Nakajima and making it to the semifinals.
Quite a powerful final 4. Rika, Wakana, Suzume, and Yuki Aino. So going over on the left side, then you'll have Rika Tatsumi and Wakana Uehara. Is Wakana hungry enough to eat the White Dragon?
She'll be plenty hungry, but this will just not quite be enough for her to make it to the finish line. I have the White Dragon toppling Wakana Uehara and making it to the finals.
And she will meet either Yuki Aino or Suzume.
I have Suzume defeating Yuki Aino and making it to the finals.
So your star-studded finals matchup, Rika Tatsumi and Suzume. Who, good sir, are you crowning the 13th Tokyo Princess Cup winner?
This will definitely be an epic battle for sure. Possibly a match of the year candidate, but I am winning for the first time this tournament in her career will be the very first Grand Slam champion in TJPW history. I have the White Dragon Rika Tatsumi winning the 13th Tokyo Princess Cup.
Wow. And do you think that she will still be the tag champion come this tournament?
Yes, I do.
All right, there you go. So Rika Tatsumi, I thank you so much, my friend, for coming on. This was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope everybody listening enjoyed hearing Jason's picks. Before we go, I do want to give you a chance to talk about the great stuff that you're doing on your YouTube channel, your socials, wherever people can find you and what they can tune in for.
Absolutely. So you can find me. I'm on YouTube, Blitzball Champ, capital B, capital C. You can also follow me on Twitter/X, whichever you want to call it. I am at Blitzball_champ, capital B, capital C. I also stream on Facebook and Twitch as well, Blitzball Champ Gaming. Definitely check me out. I do pro wrestling previews, reviews. I do a variety of promotions from all over the world. If you like Carolina Panthers football, I do that. I do video games. I do anime, overall life. So definitely check me out and hope you enjoy what you see.
A true Renaissance man, I have to say. And I'm not just saying that because I'm his friend. I'm paying back the compliment he gave me when we started.
Appreciate that.
All right, my friend. Well, this was a blast. Thank you so much. I will catch you soon.
Catch you soon. Thank you so much.
Next up, we've got a newer friend of mine, AJ, from the Queenslariat Podcast. Now, a little bit of a peek behind the curtain. When I started up the podcast last fall, AJ's TikTok was one of the very first pages I came across because she does these really, really good series on Joshi wrestlers you should know and also Joshi matches you should watch. She's basically like a Joshi encyclopedia of sorts. I've saved so many of her posts for matches that I should go and watch, whether they be current day matches, whether they're matches from Joshi history. AJ just does a terrific job with all of her content. I was so excited when she agreed to come on the show, and believe it or not, this is actually our first time chatting outside of TikTok. So have a listen to her selections for this year's Princess Cup. I am so happy to be joined today by AJ from the Queenslariat Podcast. AJ, thank you so much for coming on the show. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for inviting me. This is my first time being a guest on a podcast, but I am very excited.
I love it. We're going to talk today all about the 13th annual Tokyo Princess Cup. I know you are so tapped into Joshi wrestling, not just TJPW, but Joshi wrestling as a whole. We'll talk about kind of the content that you're doing on your channels in a little bit, but I know you've already made your picks here for this bracket, and I'm very, very excited to see who you have. So I will get us started. We'll start in the upper left. Our first round matchup is an insane matchup between Miyu Yamashita and Uda Takami. Do you think Uda Takami can surpass the ace here? Who are you picking?
So for this match, of course, I'm picking Miyu. I like Uda. I like some of the stuff she's been doing this year, but I just don't think she's on the same level as Miyu. And you can never count out Miyu in these kinds of like tournaments or like any kind of like big match. So I'm definitely picking Miyu here.
Okay, rolling with the ace. The next match we have is probably going to be more of a comedy match. We have Raku and Mizuki. Who do you have there?
Once again, I like Raku. I think she does a terrific job with the comedy stuff, especially her and Ram Kachow being married and stuff. I think that's hilarious. But I'm going to go with Mizuki. Just like Niyu, she's another one of those big names that you just cannot count out in these tournaments or any kind of big match, especially with her having her match against Willow Nightingale at Summer Princess. So I'm excited for that match, but I think Mizuki is going to win here.
I have the same. As much as it pains me as a Raku fan, I have the same moving on. We then have probably one of, in my opinion, the best opening round matches between Arisu Endo and Sakura Hattori.
Oh yeah. So this is one of the two matches I'm most excited for in the first round, but this match could go either way. I just have a feeling that Arisu is going to pull through here with the year that she's already had. I can see her continuing that momentum here. But like I said, the match could go either way, but I'm going to go with Arisu here.
Arisu, okay. And then our final one on the left side of the bracket is the hungriest pro wrestler out there, Wakana Uehara, taking on Mifu Ashita.
Okay, I think Wakana is going to win here, especially with her coming off of her summer princess match with Suzumi. I think TJPW is starting to really push her. I think Wakana is going to win here.
Bonus question for you. Do you have
Mhm.
Wakana becoming the new International Princess Champion?
Who that's a hard question, but I think no. I think I'm gonna stick with Suzumi here.
Okay. I know I put you on the spot there. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, then moving into the right side of the bracket in the upper right, we have Toga taking on Momosato, which will be her second match. I guess her third if you count the insane battle royal that we saw at Grand Princess. But Momosato, 2 days after making her debut in Summer Sun Princess, do you think Momosato can upset Toga here?
We all expect surprises in these tournaments, but I don't think that's gonna happen here. Is one of those breakout stars, a younger star that's like right on the edge of breaking out. I think she's going to move past Momo here. And I don't want to say easily, but I think she's gonna win here.
I was surprised that Momo even was, I don't know if you say
Yeah, was
qualified,
in
but
the
was placed
tournament.
into this tournament so soon after that debut. I mean, she hasn't even debuted yet. She's already
Yeah.
in her first Princess Cup.
Yeah, it would have been exciting if they would have brought somebody outside of TJPW to fill the spot. I'm
Mhm.
guessing that Kimyu would probably had taken if she wasn't retired. It would have been cool to see them bring somebody outside of TJPW here.
If you had to pick somebody from outside of TJPW, who would you have liked to see in this bracket?
Um, I actually would have liked to see like a Takumi Iroha in that spot after her amazing match at Grand Princess with
Yeah,
Spark Rush. Yeah, it would. I would love to see her in that spot.
that's a great pick. I'm always a
Mm,
sucker for Mei Saruga too,
mhm.
just because
Oh,
she fits like a glove.
absolutely.
Yeah. But Takumi Roha would be excellent. That'd be a really cool one. Okay, moving in to another excellent match that we have here in the first round. Miyu Watanabe taking on Ren Kanatsu. Who do you have there?
So, a little secret here, I am a huge Miyu Watanabe fan. Once again, another excellent year for Miyu. And after losing that Princess of Princess title, and winning the Princess Tag Team Championships, I just can't see her losing here.
Ooh.
Not to Ren. Ren is still kind of green, and she's still learning, and she's hasn't really broken out yet. So I think I'm gonna go with Miyu here.
So far, your and my brackets are completely identical. I wonder if we'll see any changes. I think there is a possibility. I feel like Ren maybe upsets Miyu. Um, I don't know. I think like March Madness, and there's always like an upset, but I have to
Yeah,
remember this is TJPW rather than
yeah,
NCAA.
yeah. I have the upset here coming up
Okay.
here.
Okay, cool. We'll see. So next up then we have Suzume, who you are thinking will still be International Princess Champion here, taking on Shion Kanzaki.
Okay, so I have not seen a lot of Shion, but I know she's still kind of young too. But Suzumi is another one who has had a terrific year, just like her Daisy Monkey's tag partner Arisu. I see Suzumi winning here.
Okay. And then our last matchup in the first round will be who is the current Princess of Princess champion, Yuki Arai. Maybe she will or won't be come Monday, but she will take on Haru Kazushiro.
Okay, here's my shock. Here's my surprise here.
Ooh,
I think Haru is going to beat Yuki.
wow.
Even if Yuki retains her Princess of Princess title, I still think Haru is going to win. I think I think this is a perfect place to really give Haru a big push and a lot of momentum. Even if she doesn't make it far into the Princess Cup, a win against Yuki could give her a ton of momentum to challenge for the International Princess Championship or even put her in the Princess of Princess title match. So I'm going with Haru here.
I love it. And do you think that Arai will still be the Princess of Princess champion come this tournament?
I'm going to say yes. I think
Okay.
she beats Miyu.
So a huge, huge upset there. I love that though. That's what makes this interesting.
Hmm.
Okay, so then going through into the second round, back up into the upper left, you had Miyu Yamashita moving on to face Rika Tatsumi. Huge matchup there. Who are you picking?
Okay, so once again, Rika is one of my favorite Tokyo Joshi Pro wrestlers, but I still think I'm still going to give this one to Miyu here, and I have no issues with Rika, but I don't think that I don't think every champion is going to make it to the second round. And like I already had Miyu Watanabe moving to the second round, I don't think Rika is going to join her there. But I still like Rika, especially her Iron Man heavy metalweight title run. But I'm
It was
giving it to Miyu.
yes, it was legendary. I like that you bring up the titles too, because I had that thought. We saw with the Max Heart tournament that the current tag champions won the Max Heart tournament, and I was kind of thinking like, would they do something like that again with the Princess Cup? But then I thought maybe not in back-to-back tournaments. I don't know if you ever thought about that or the thought about the Max Heart tournament with the tag champions winning that tournament.
I was okay with Overeats winning that tournament, but to me, I never like in these types of tournaments where a champion is actually in the tournament. It kind of reminds me, I know WWE recently did their Queen of the Ring and they had their champion Liv Morgan in the tournament, and it's just kind of weird to me when promotions do that.
I agree. I agree as well. That's kind of why I think too. The way my bracket goes, I pick non-champions. But okay, so you have Miyu Yamashita there. Moving down, then you had Mizuki coming out of the first round to take on Hyper Misao.
Like I said, another one of my favorites, Hyper Misao, but she's more of a comedy wrestler. Um, I I one day I want to see them give her a chance with either the international princess title or with the Princess of Princess championship to at least like really contend for that. But I just don't see her moving on here. Like I said, I think Mizuki, you just can't count her out here. So I'm going with Mizuki to beat Hyper Masao. But Hyper Masao could be a spoiler.
Okay.
Kind of like how Saki Kashima was in Stardom
Mhm.
for a lot of like the 5-star tournaments and the Cinderella tournaments. I think Hyper Masao can play that role here, but I think I'm gonna still give it to Mizuki.
Okay. Then we have Arisu Endo coming out of the first round to face Chika Nanase.
So no disrespect to Chika Nanase, but I think this is going to be an easy match for Arisu. She just has the momentum, in my
Mm.
opinion, going towards the finals of the Tokyo Princess Cup.
I'd have to agree. Yeah, no disrespect to Chika, but I do think that Chika got a very lucky drawing getting that first round bye into the second round.
Hmm.
And then in the last one here on the left side of the bracket, you have Wakana Uehara, and she is set to face Himawari.
In my opinion, I think this match it could go either way, but I still think that Wakana is going to win here. I think Tokyo Joshi Pro is I'm not saying they're going to set her up to have a big rest of the year or a big 2027, but with her popularity growing with her, social medias and her YouTube channel, I could see them really wanting to push Wakana more. So I'm going to give her the win here against Himawari.
I'd have to agree. I think I like that you brought up her YouTube channel because it's such a guilty pleasure of mine to watch her
Oh yeah,
go and just eat an insane amount of food. It's blows my mind every single time.
it's excellent. It's hilarious.
Terrific. Moving back to the right side, you had Toga coming out of the first round. It sets up an interesting match of similar styles between Toga and Mahiro Kiryu.
Okay, so I like Mahiro as well, but I think she could be another one of those spoiler types, kind of like Hyper Masao, to mess up a lot of people's brackets, including mine's. But I'm gonna go with Toga here. Like I said, she's a young up and comer, and I can see her gaining a lot of momentum coming out of this tournament.
I have to agree with that too. The next matchup here, I'm really hoping we see in the second round because I loved the title match that they had in the fall. Miyu Watanabe and Yuki Aino.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be one of the best matches of the tournament. I really like Yuki too, but I just cannot I could not pick her to win over Miyu. But this could be another surprising shock win. But I still have to go with Miyu.
With Mia, okay. And then in the final section here of the bracket, you have Suzume going up against maybe babysitting is a better word, the 3-year-old Palm Harajuku.
Oh yeah, this is another good one. I still have to go with Suzume here.
Yeah.
And no offense to Palm, I really like Palm, but I just can't see her on the same level as Suzume. Not right now, anyways.
Yeah, it's interesting when they make this. This is the biggest Princess Cup in the history of the Princess Cup, but that does mean that they bring in the entire roster. And so you have the
Yeah,
rookies, you have the Palms, or it breaks my heart, but the Rakus, I'll say it.
yeah,
Where it's a little obvious these first few rounds.
yep. To me, it seems like some of these matches, there's a gap in skills.
Mhm.
And no offense to anybody, but I just see like the Raku versus, and I really love Raku and her versus Mizuki. It just seems like a gap in skills.
Mhm. If I remember right, Raku faced Miyu Watanabe in the first round last year, and there was like a
Mhm.
traffic cone involved or something.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to a laugh or two with these matches too.
Yes, but you always a safe bet with TJPW that there will be a handful of laughs no matter what show we're watching. Okay, the last second round matchup, you had the upset pick in Haru Kazushiro. Will Lightning strike twice, and will she defeat Shoko Nakajima?
I know I picked Haru to beat Yuki, but I think Shoko is going to beat Haru here. And I don't think Haru necessarily needs, a big run in the Tokyo Princess Cup to really establish herself. But I can't count out Shoko. Shoko is just she's just too good to not to get kicked out in her first match. But like I said, I would not be shocked if Haru makes a Cinderella-esque run in this tournament and makes it to the finals. But I'm gonna stick with Shoko here. It really took me a long time
Mhm.
to choose who I thought was gonna win in this match, but I'm gonna go with Shoko.
Shoko to me is, you described Yamashita earlier and Mizuki, like you can never count out Shoko. She's just so good that like they're always a threat in tournaments like this.
Yep.
Okay, so as we go into the quarterfinal round, you have it was Miyu Yamashita moving on to face Mizuki. That's also one heck of a matchup.
Oh yeah, two wrestlers who have been in all sorts of big matches, whether it's against each other or tagging or against other people. This match, in my opinion, it can easily be the match of the tournament. Um, Mizuki, like I said, she coming off of the match with Willow Nightingale, and Miyu coming off her big match against Yuki. It's going to be a fantastic match, but I think I'm still gonna go with Miyu here.
Okay. So Yamashita going into the semifinals, and then who will she meet? Will it be Arisu Endo or Wakana Uehara?
Once again, no offense to Wakana. I still think she's gonna have a big rest of the year going into 2027. But I just feel like Arizu is going to be the one to take on Miyu here. And I feel like it can be a continuation of their tag team that they had against Spark Rush. And it's a really good story could be told here between the two as well.
Yeah, I love that. I think that'd be a really cool callback. That's one heck of a semifinal on the left side. On the right side, we have a matchup set between Toga and who I'm quickly gathering is your favorite, Miyu Watanabe.
Oh yeah, yeah. I love this matchup here. But once again, I gotta pick Miyu. I just can't get away from, Miyu being there, like at least in the semifinals. Like
Mhm.
I really like Miyu here. I really like Toga too. And I still see big things for her as well. But I just don't think she could overcome Miyu here.
And will Miyu meet either Suzume or Shoko Nakajima?
Oh, this is a tough one. This is another match that took me a while to choose the winner here. Um, Once again, Shoko is one of the most underrated like women's wrestlers in the world right now. She should definitely be talked about more, like just in general for women's wrestling. But I'm just loving Suzumi's year and the momentum she's had with matches against my match of the year in all of wrestling, her match against Miyu Watanabe, and then of course her match against Mirai to win that international princess championship. I got Suzumi moving on.
I have the exact same thing, believe it or not. I have Suzume taking out Shoko Nakajima. So your final four then sees the Pink Striker Miyu Yamashita, you have Arisu Endo, you have Miyu Watanabe, and Suzume. One heck of a final four. So who do you have going into the finals between Yamashita and Arisu Endo?
Well, I once again, I love Miyu, but I think this is Arisu Endo's year to really show out. I think she makes it to the finals again for the second year in a row. I got Arisu Endo going over Yamashita here. And I think another thing is I feel like TJPW is kind of in a transitionary period where a lot of the big names we known from the past that were involved with the main event scene are kind of taking a step back. And a lot of these girls that are like ready to break out or have recently just broken out are getting their chance to shine now. So with that, I'm going with Arizu to make it to the finals for the second year in a row.
Okay, back-to-back finals for Arisu, and will she meet Miyu Watanabe or will she meet her Daisy Monkey tag partner Suzume?
So, this is another thing with Miyu being the champion. Hopefully she's still the champion going into Summer Sun Princess. But I just don't think a champion and is going to make it to the finals. And I also just don't think that Miyu is going to go back to back. But with that being said, I think Suzumi will meet her Daisy Monkey's tag partner in the finals here. And I'm looking forward to a fantastic story going into this finals match.
That would be one heck of a finals. That's actually my finals as well. Great minds think alike, I suppose. But
Thank
my
you.
my friend, you have the Daisy Monkey collides in the finals here. Arisu Endo and Suzume. Who are you crowning the 13th Tokyo Princess Cup winner?
While I really like Suzume, I think she's excellent and she's had one heck of a year. I'm gonna go with Arisu Endo. Ever since that tag match she had with Yamashita against Spark Rush, she has always been my pick here. Like she's just so close to breaking out. And I think this win in the Tokyo Princess Cup is just gonna put her up in that top echelon in Tokyo Joshi Pro. So I'm going with Arisu Endo taking a crown here.
It will be a colorful crown on that rainbow colored hair that she has. This is where we differ. I have the same finals, but I do have Suzume, but it's mostly because I think Wakana's going to beat her, and then Wakana becomes the champion. Suzume then moves into kind of that Princess of Princess picture once more. But this was so much fun. I hope you had a lot of
Yeah.
fun. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this. Before we wrap, I know you do some really great stuff on YouTube, on TikTok, on social media. I want to just give you the floor for a moment where people can follow your content and just to talk about the type of content that you're making.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So I do have two TikToks. I have the Queenslariat Podcast TikTok. On there, I typically do my Joshi wrestlers you should know, which is basically an introduction to so many of the amazing Joshi wrestlers from past and present and future. And it's just for like if you're getting into Joshi or for even for people who already watch Joshi, it's just a nice little introduction to the wrestlers. And then, of course, I do the Joshi matches you should watch, which basically is, it's not something where it explains the match in its entirety, but just something to suggest matches to people who are newer to Joshi. And then over on my Queen's Lariat Joshi channel, I have a ton of fun series there. We have awesome Joshi finishers. I do edits. Sometimes I'll do a little reviews on shows, but also my amazing, which is probably my favorite thing to do with my content on TikTok, is my Joshi one-on-one series, which is basically explaining some of the tournaments titles. And also I had a series on the different eras of Joshi. So we have that too. And of course I have my YouTube channel where I talk a lot about Joshi there, but I also talk about some of the women's wrestlers and some of the wrestling going on in WWE as well. I also have an X account and an Instagram. But thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. Like I said, it's my first time being a guest, and I had a lot of fun here.
Yeah, no, this was a blast. I was going to say, I love the amount of research that goes into all of your content. AJ is a terrific follow. If you are new to Joshi, if you love Joshi and you just need some good match recommendations, which I think all of us do, right? So I think your content is so well put together and so informative. And I have a bunch of it saved in my TikTok. I will admit that. I think I was telling you that before we
Yeah,
started.
thank
Um,
you. I appreciate it too.
yeah, keep up the great work. I love it. And all of the listeners out there, definitely go give AJ a follow. Her stuff is terrific. But thank you so much again. This has been so much of a joy for me to have you on. Any final words before we end here?
My final words is I think this tournament could possibly be the best tournament in Joshi this year. We have to see what Stardom does with the 5-star, but I think this is definitely going to be a great tournament with some great matchups.
Terrific. We're looking forward to it. Thank you so much, my friend.
Oh, thank you too. I appreciate it.
My next two guests need no introduction. The fine gentlemen over at Talk Joshi, Matt Turner and Andy Heder. I actually appeared on their show this week as well, so we did a little bit of like a crisscross applesauce on the Talk Joshi feed. We previewed Summer Sun Princess, and here, of course, they are making their picks for the Tokyo Princess Cup. The three of us always just have a blast when we get together and talk Joshi, so I knew that I had to have them on for this bracketology bracket pick'em. Can you guess who they picked to win it all? I know they have some favorites, but their picks might surprise you. Talk Joshi and the Tokyo Joshi Pod. What is this, a crossover episode? That's a callback to BoJack Horseman for any of you out there who are familiar with that. Matt Turner, Andy Header, so excited that you guys are here. How are you today on this very fine Thursday afternoon?
We're good, buddy. You're welcome for the house. When you see your downloads go up, like me and Header, whenever we team up, we'd walk in like, you're welcome for the house. Like, guys, there's 50 people out there. I'm like, listen, you're welcome for the house. So when you see your 3 extra downloads on this episode,
know who they're from. Yeah,
that's right.
They were from Andy and his girlfriend and his family. That's
definitely not for my wife. She doesn't listen. She listens to talk enough about me about wrestling. But no, bro, this is great. It's always great having you on the show. Obviously, we've had you on the show a handful of times before to do your previews and sometimes reviews and lend your expertise from Tokyo Joshi Pro, and most importantly, have fun, because that's what it's all about, having fun. So we're glad that we're here doing our bracketology here for the Tokyo Princess Cup, which starts this Saturday, or excuse me, this Monday.
Friday night?
This Monday.
Oh,
Yes.
what am I saying? I'm thinking
That's Summer Sun Princess, but there's a lot of wrestling going on. Don't forget Shuri versus Shiro Shimoto and Sendai Girls as well. But no, brother, thanks for having us on. This I'm really looking forward to this one and seeing what your now is out. I'm always interested to see what everybody's bracket is. Then a couple hours ago, Andy Header on our group text is like, I got some crazy stuff going here. So the fact that he's gonna have Mahiro win the whole thing and spear jackhammer every match.
See, I thought it would be Palm.
Yeah, Palm and Mahiro, they somehow make it to the finals even though they're on the same side.
Well, they're switching it. They're switching it.
I love it. No, I'm so happy that you guys are here. I'm so happy to have you guys on. Always love when I come on Talk Joshi, and even just chatting with you guys off air. Always a delight. I know we've become very, very fast friends, and very appreciative of all of the free shout outs. The checks are in the mail. I promise they're coming. I will get us started here, because today we're talking all about the 13th annual Tokyo Princess Cup, the biggest Tokyo Princess Cup in the history of TJPW, with 24 competitors. We'll go starting from the upper left, a crazy opening round matchup that we have fallen ourselves into here. The ace of the company, the pink striker, Miyu Yamashita, maybe committing a little bit of a murder here, a little bit of child abuse against Uda Takami. Matt Turner, who do you have advancing here in this first round matchup?
I just want to say, obviously, in Japan, it is tournament season with the 5-star Grand Prix from Stardom. We have the G1 already started from New Japan. And just a few weeks' time, about 5-6 weeks' time, we have Marigold's Dream Star Grand Prix. What I like about the Tokyo Princess Cup, the biggest tournament for Tokyo Joshi Pro, it's one and you're done. All the other tournaments I mentioned, they're round robin, so you can afford to take a loss here and there. Here it's one and it's done, so there's a sense of urgency. So I like how Tokyo Joshi Pro is doing something different from the other companies, and they have for 13 years. So I just think that's really, really cool how they make their tournament different than everybody else. With that being said, if there's going to be one upset in the first round, I think it could be this one, because Yamashita is wrestling for the Prince of Princess Championship. That is the show on Friday night for us over here in the United States. Us on the East Coast, that'll probably bleed into Sunday morning. But I can see if Miyu Yamashita loses that match, then maybe she comes in here almost a little complacent, and it's like almost like the downfall of Miyu Yamashita to build herself back up. So I can see that happen, because I can see out of all the main eventers that we have in Tokyo Joshi Pro, I can see 5 or 6 of them winning this. The only one I can't see winning it is Yamashita, because she's wrestling for the championship, and she may even win it this weekend. With that being said, again, if there's only one upset, I'm going to say it's this one, but this could be a double elimination, because Miyu could win and then immediately be arrested for child abuse. I'm joking, folks. I'm really looking forward to this, because we talk about Uda Takami, one of the most improved wrestlers in all of wrestling. I mean, the work that she's done, especially teaming with Mizuki, has been really interesting. This match might be the match I'm looking forward to most in the opening round, but I think Yamashita gets the win, and then that'll set up Yamashita versus Rika Tatsumi. And Mr. Zyke, you know what a history those two have. So Looking forward to this one. Looking forward to see Uda in this big match with the pink striker, the ace of the company. No Mizuki with her. She's going to have to go on her own. So I think this match might be the best match of the entire first round, but I'm going to say Yamashita gets the win.
And how about you, Andy? Are you in agreement with Yamashita, or do you think Uda can pull off the upset here?
When I first seen this, I think I texted you guys. I'm in a nerd group too. The whole thing, like the collective thought was poor Uda. So Uda's what a mountain to climb here for her first match. But I think Miyu advances here. I don't have Miyu winning the whole thing, spoilers, but I think that she definitely advances over Uda. It's a big matchup for Uda, and it'll be good. But like I can't see her beating Miyu and Yamashita here, even if she does win the title Friday. Then I really don't see her beating her. But yeah, Miyu gets the win.
The look on Uda's face when she realized who she was facing in that little press conference was pure terror. And then when she realized if she happened to do the unthinkable and beat Yamashita, who she would face in the second round, she was not a happy camper, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it's a very tough bracket for her.
Very, very tough draw. As we move down to our next first round matchup, probably a little bit more of a comedy-based matchup. I will say, too, I'm in agreement with you guys. I have Yamashita as well. Comedy-based matchup here. Raku going one-on-one with Mizuki. Andy, we'll start with you this time.
This one should be pretty good. I think that Mizuki's probably gonna hit Raku over the head with the hammer, but maybe she's gonna chop at the same time, and it'll be like the towers exploding.
The two fireballs. The Ken and Ryu
fireballs.
fireballs.
The movable force versus the whatever that saying is.
There's
That's
irresistible force versus the immovable object.
The
Rest in
Juggernaut,
peace, Gorilla Monsoon.
There we go. Juggernaut and Thing or Hulk, whatever you would say. But I think Mizuki's gonna win here. I don't see Raku moving forward. I like Raku, but Mizuki's gonna get the win.
We talk about Raku, and I know Raku is one of your favorite wrestlers in this company there, Mr. Andy's like. We talk about like she's basically comedy, but when it comes down to wrestling, she's a very underrated wrestler. And obviously Mizuki's pretty good with the comedy. We've seen her with the Andres the Giant Panda matches and whatnot. But I think you get your little bit of comedy, but I think as this match really kicks into that second and third gear, you're going to see more of wrestling. So I think Raku is going to open up a lot of eyes to a lot of people for just what a great and underrated wrestler she is. That being said, I got Mizuki getting the win here. And again, you also have to think about the matches that are getting set up. Tokyo Joshi Pro is going to want the best matches and the biggest draws possible. So that's kind of a lot of thought that I had going into this tournament. But I do have Mizuki getting the win, advancing to round 2.
I agree with you guys. Last year, Raku brought a traffic cone to her first round matchup. So we'll have to see if she's got something up her sleeve. But no matter what, I do think Mizuki's just a little bit too tall of a task for her to handle. The next first round matchup, this one personally for me is so difficult to pick. I think it is two favorites of the tournament here. Two people that, from what I have heard, both people were kind of marked to go very, very far. And that is Arisu Endo and Sakura Hattori. Mr. Turner, I'm going to volley to you to start us off here and make the first difficult selection of the day.
This actually really wasn't that difficult for me, but I do want to ask you this. Have they ever done like time limit draws and then somebody gets a bye? Is that common in the Tokyo Princess Cup?
It's uncommon. It's uncommon in TJPW as a whole to have a time limit draw. I think this year with the tournament being as big as it is, it's totally possible.
My thing is like, say this goes to a time limit draw, then Chicken and Nas gets 2 buys. I just don't see that happening. But I was just curious. I meant to ask that when we started. I'm going to say Arisa Endo gets the win here. I think she's going to go really far in this tournament. I think she has a lot to prove to everybody. Again, she not only made it to the finals of this tournament last year, she had to defeat Yamashita and Yuki Arai on the way to the finals. And again, they're the two wrestlers in the main event in Corrigan Hall coming up for SummerSlam Princess. And Endo had to go through the two of them just to make it to the finals and then eventually lose to Watanabe. I think this is a big tall tale tournament for Risa Endo. This one against not, I think it's gonna be a great match. I think there's gonna be a lot of near falls here. I think Hattori's gonna have maybe a good portion of this match. But this is another easy one for me to call, at least where I see. I think Endo gets the win here.
And Mr. Header, you agree?
Yeah, I'm heavily favoring Arisa for this tournament, and so I have her getting the win here. It should be a good match. I just don't see Sakura Hattori moving forward right now because I think this tournament is all about building some new main eventers and cementing them as main eventers, quite like Yuki wrestling Miyu. this weekend. So I think there's gonna be building some stars here, and Risu's one of them. So yeah, Risu gets the win over Sakura here.
Which Yuki Andy Header? Which Yuki is
Yuki
dressed?
Arai.
Okay, we
Yeah.
just gotta so we're not getting
But Yuki
confused.
Aino, I think, is gonna do well too. More on that later.
No Kamiyu? No.
Yeah, but she's not in it.
She won't lose any matches this tournament. I can guarantee it.
That's,
Yeah,
that's
she
because
won't.
it's a safe bet to make. That's a safe bet. I have to agree. I have a Risu just based on the run that she had last year, but truly a coin flip. I would not fault anybody for picking Sakura here. The final first round matchup on the left hand side will see the world's hungriest pro wrestler in Wakana Uehara going up against the resident cheerleader Mifu Ashida. Andy, a matchup here of two iconic characters. Who are you picking?
The cheerleader and the competitive eater. This one is, I think, one of the toughest ones to pick because it seems like Tokyo Joshi Pro, they're really high on Wakana, and that's why she's getting that IP title shot. But they're also high on Mifu too. They use Mifu in a lot of like big time matches and stuff. So I don't know where to really go. And I was thinking about like, is it Wakana, is it Mifu? But it does seem that a little bit more steam behind Wakana than Mifu. So I'm gonna pick Wakana gets the win here.
I'm going to agree with Mr. Header. I think this match is going to be a really great show stealer. I think that when this match gets over, we're like, wow, we knew it was going to be good. This opened a lot of eyes. Wakana, ever since kind of going singles, since Oberitzer and Kamiyu lost the tag belts, she's really been getting more of a singles push. And now we see why, because she's wrestling Suzume for the IP title coming up here literally tomorrow. Summer Sun Princess in Cork and Hall. So win, lose, or draw in that match with Suzume, I think I know when Wakana Uehara is going to come out a bigger star because she's wrestling for one of the big belts, and Suzume is one of the best wrestlers in Tokyo Joshi Pro. So she's going to have a lot more steam on her, and I just think I don't think she gets bounced out of the first round. I think she picks up the win here, but I think we're going to see a great showing for one Mifu Ashida. And correct me if I'm wrong there, Andy Zyke. This is Mifu Ashida's first go around here in the Tokyo Princess Cup.
I believe it is. Yes, there's a handful of first timers in this year's cup. Most of them are obviously like the younger generations and the rookies. As I consult my notes here very fast, it is Mifu's first time in the Tokyo Princess Cup. So that probably plays a factor for me personally too. I know we talked about this earlier this week on Talk Joshi. I am picking Wakana to beat Suzume this weekend, and so I think if she comes into this tournament with that International Princess belt, likely not going to get bounced in the first round. So I agree with you guys. I also have the world's hungriest pro wrestler in Wakana. On to the upper right side of the bracket, we have an interesting contest here. Toga is going to go one-on-one with the newest debuted wrestler. She's just debuting this weekend, Momo Sato, the 15-year-old idol turned pro wrestler. Do you think Momo Sato has a chance here, Matt, or do you think this one's Toga's for the taking?
Let's quote Animal House. Toga. Yeah, I think Toga gets the win here. Again, she's another one of these wrestlers that's kind of in the middle of the card that whenever touched upon to get a big match, like Mirai, we did see not that long ago in Cork and Hall, can really, really go. She's one when the time's right. Because you can't push everybody. If you push everybody, then nobody gets over. I think that in a year or two, she's going to get that massive push. And I think she's going to have a really good run here. I think she gets the win here on the one Momo Sato. Again, Momo Sato's just debuting. It'll be a fun match, but I think Toga is going to pick up the win here, probably with the absolute 0.
And Andy, what say you?
Now, wasn't Momo in that one battle royal too?
Yeah, she's
technically,
technically
this isn't her debut.
But her debut match.
I don't know if that was like a match, right? That was a very intriguing battle royal that she was a part of. But yes, technically, she debuted at Grand Princess.
Yeah, but I mean, this will be her debut for a singles match. I guess her real first match. But and then one more question I want to ask you: is there any rhyme or reason as to who got buys?
The draw.
Apparently, it's all random drawing. I know we were talking before we hopped on here whether it was truly random or if there's a little bit of a method to the madness, but everybody draws a number at random and then they just get slotted sequentially.
Oh, okay. Because I didn't know if there was like, well, Yuki Aino's won this many matches because like my girl Palm got a pie. I was like, all right. But anyway, get back to this match.
She screamed her way into that pie.
Yeah, she just screamed. Dude, she's 3 years old, so she just gets a pie. I think Toga's got to win here. Usually when Joshi debuts, they do not win. They have a good fight. They fight back. They get a few good moves that they can do well, but they do not win. So yeah, Toga gets the win here over poor Momo Sato.
I agree. I think Momo is going to look pretty good. I thought in that Battle Royal she looked pretty good for
Mhm.
someone who was really her only training up to that point was taking moves from her brother who wrestles in DDT as a young child, which I'm sure we all did when we were kids as well, kind of wrestling with your stuffed animals on the bed. In this case, it was Daichi Sato wrestling with his teenage sister, but it ended up working out well for Momo. That said, I agree with you guys. I think this one's Togus for the taking. The next first round matchup here, Miyu Watanabe going one-on-one with Ren Kanatsu, the fancy sheep. I think that this has a little bit of a possibility for an upset potentially. Ren has just looked really, really good of late. But Andy, what say you for this one?
Maybe an upset, but I think that because Miyu is Miyu and she is one half of the tag team champions, I think Miyu gets the win here. Ren will look good, but I can't see Ren going on that because of the Ren Yuki Aino. And what if Ren goes to the finals? Yeah, I can't see Miyu getting pinned here by Ren Kanatsu. Nothing against Ren Kanatsu.
Yeah, I agree. And again, for business purpose as well, this sets up so much for Miyu. You know, it would be Miyu and Yuki Aino. They had a great match in Korakuen Hall. And then you fast forward 2 rounds, the potential matches for Miyu coming up here in the what could be the quarterfinals and semifinals. But the potential to do things with Miyu here, I think, are just bigger than just having Ren Konatsu get a upset win. With that being said, I think the match is going to be terrific. Not only that, I know me and Andy had talked about this about a month or so ago on Talk Joshi, and I'm going to throw this at you. I'm going to throw a question at you there, Andy's like the Aries Comet dropkick that Ren does. In order for her to do that dropkick, she has to jump up and then up. See what I'm saying? See what I'm getting? Right? We're missing one up girl. She's wrestling the leader of the up girls, Miyu Watanabe. Maybe this is her tryout to be the
And she
next member
sang.
of the. Yeah, yeah, maybe she sings like a sheep, Andy.
You know who could be a fill-in? Shion could be a fill-in up girl.
She does sing.
Yeah, she does sing.
Well, we did fantasy book that this is the time to bring Dave Mustaine in and hang your 18
Retirement
up girls. Yeah.
I mean, I think with Ren, she's already proven that she can be a winning horse. Maybe she can also be an
that's
up
true.
girl as
The
well.
horse race. Oh my god. Ah.
And Shion, maybe she could, a little dyslexia can take effect and she can replace Shino, right? That's how these
Yeah,
things
there we
work.
go. Shion was also a horse that time too. Remember?
That's true. It's all connected. It's all connected. We found out the answer to
Ah.
TJPW. I too have Miyu. I think it'll be a really good match. I think Ren's been just looking tremendous in the little over a year since she debuted. I think she's just come leaps and bounds from her debut. Somebody else that has come leaps and bounds from their debut, we just mentioned her, Shion Kanzaki, debuted 6 short months ago and is already impressing. Her charisma is off the chain. Her singing is off the chain. She has a pretty tall task here against the Vivid Honey Mustard Suzume, who may or may not be the International Princess Champion coming out of the weekend. But Andy Header, who do you think advances here between Suzume and Shion?
I think that Suzume will beat Wakana, so I believe that Suzume will go into this title or this tournament with her International Princess title. So I don't see her losing to Shion, but that would be a hell of an upset. But I just don't see it happening. It'd be a good match, good for Shion, but yeah, she ain't getting out of the first round, and Suzume is moving on.
Yeah, I agree, and I can say this. I think this isn't about the result for Shion. It's going to be about the match. She's going to have the best match of her young career because she's consistently getting better. It's a big spotlight for her. It's her first Tokyo Princess Cup, and she's wrestling Suzume, who might be the Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestler of the Year 6 months into the year. And Suzume is a very unselfish wrestler. Excuse me. She's going to give Shion a lot in this match to look good. But ultimately, it's all going to be about Pantera's Cowboys from Hell as Suzume hits the ring a bell for the 3 count.
I was wondering if you'd mix in a rhyme here. I was secretly hoping we got one.
Did you? We really earlier today we released our Suzume interview episode, and that's what I went with. that's what I went with, buddy. So yeah. So when you do get it, and I'm not just saying this for a cheap plug, but it's a cheap plug. Our interview with Suzume was phenomenal. Like she comes across like, how can you not root for this girl? Like, how can you not root for this girl? Again, we just dropped it earlier today, and then in a few hours' time, so timely, we'll be releasing our Yuki Arai episode. We got the champs this weekend. Andy had it. The champs stopped by Talk Joshi.
Yeah, big time. We go right for the champions, and hopefully I don't put Yuki Aino. Man, do I get them mixed up? Their names anyway.
Yeah, I think Suzume is such an endearing wrestler. Having met her a few times, I think Matt, you were able to meet her as well at some point,
Hmm.
but she's just so friendly and bubbly and happy. And there's something to, I don't know the full story. I don't think anybody knows the full story, but there's something to uh, where she was in life before becoming a wrestler and before
Really?
becoming a part of TJPW. And she's talked about how TJPW has like saved her life in that sense. I don't
That's
know
great.
literally what that entails or not, but there is definitely some backstory to it, and I think she's so genuine of a person. So I love to hear that. We look forward to listening to that when that drops. You mentioned Yuki Arai. Yuki Arai is our next first round matchup here. Again, may or may not be Princess of Princess champion going into this tournament. We'll have to see how the weekend goes, but Yuki Arai will open up the first round against another competitor who has just looked terrific all year in Haru Kazushiro. Matt, you have on the Haru blue colored t-shirt today. Are you going to rock with Haru, or do you think Yuki Arai gets the win here?
I'm always rocking, buddy. Again, this could be an upset because very much like I said, Yamashita in the main event. I just don't see Miyu Yamashita or Yuki Arai winning the Princess Cup because one of them will be champion. One of them have come off a hard fought match and lost. So I can see them really elevating Haru here. However, I don't think it's going to happen. This is the one I can see possibly an upset, very much like Uda and Yamashita. But I think Arai gets the win, moving on to the next round.
And Andy, would you agree?
Yeah, I'm in agreement here because I have Yuki Arai Yuki having the title and coming into this with the title. So I think, and I don't know if it's like Stardom or basically any Japanese company, if you beat a champion in a tournament, you get a title shot. I don't know if that's how it works. So I'm kind of figuring that in as I do my brackets here. So I think that Yuki does beat Haru, but it will probably be one of Haru's best matches of the year. I mean, she had that really good one with
Mirai,
was it Mariah? Yeah,
Suzume.
for the title shot. Yeah, so they were really good. So this might be up there with him. Good for Haru, but yeah, Yuki Rai is going to move forward with the title in hand.
I do want to say you made a good point, Andy Header. The fact there's that old Arn Anderson reference. You only get better by wrestling people better than you. Haru, like the last 3 or 4 months, has been fantastic. And the fact that she's wrestled Mirai, wrestled Suzume, and then yet wrestling Yuki Arai. It's just like, boy, howdy. It's just like, yeah, I'm really good. And her tag team stuff with Yuki Aino has been terrific. So the fact that she's teaming with a great wrestler in Yuki Aino, and the fact that she's had this stretch where she's wrestling these top tier wrestlers, and now in round one, she's wrestling Yuki Arai, either the current or former Princess of Princess champion. So not bad for an 18-year-old, my friend. Not bad for an 18-year-old.
The second she graduated and dyed her hair blue, it was all up from there, I think.
Yeah.
I say this all the time. We've seen it on the Stardom side with Hanan. Once she turned 18 and graduated school, she got so much better. She was good before. And we're seeing it the last year with Hina and Rina, Hanan's younger sisters. Like they graduated school and gotten better. We're seeing this with Haru. Again, I apologize to all the teachers out there. I think that if you're getting to wrestling, school's got to go on the back burner. That's all I'm saying. That's all that I'm saying. You know what I mean?
12 grades.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think Dick Murdoch had 12 grades, right?
Yeah, eight
I always
enough.
reference Dick Murdoch when I talk about. I don't know why. I just think Dick Murdoch's great.
I think Haru's actually gone on record too of saying like, I just couldn't wait to graduate. I knew what I was doing for a living. Like I didn't need these mathematics classes. I think I would be okay.
That's
Yeah, there you
awesome.
go. There you go. Stay in school, kids.
Don't become a professional wrestler when you're 14.
Terrific. As we move out of the first round, I agree with you on the last two picks. I have the Vivid Honey Mustard and I have the Genius Girl. Moving in to round two, going back up into the upper left, all of us selected Miyu Yamashita to kick the head off of Uda Takami. She's going to meet fellow pillar in the second round, Rika Tatsumi. Andy, we'll start with you. Do you think Miyu comes out here or do you have Rika Tatsumi?
This match will be really good and it'll be hard hitting. And hopefully they go out in the crowd and Rika steals some popcorn and eats it, like when she does that spot now and then. But I think Miyu's gonna. I don't have Miyu winning, like I said, the whole thing. But I think Miyu gets the win over Rika here. But it's gonna be real close.
Yeah, now we're getting into the weeds of some tricky stuff. And we really are, which is great. This is really great because you're kind of looking at potential matchups for the next round. And again, I kind of put my business hat on here of what makes more business sense, what's going to draw more tickets going into these later rounds, what's going to get more subscriptions onto Wrestle Universe. With that being said, I have Yamashita getting the win, but would not be shocked if we say hello, say goodbye, Enrique Tatsumi gets the win here. But at this point, I'm going to say she says goodbye to the tournament as the pink striker moves on. See what I did there?
I do see what you did there. This is the first time where I have a different pick than you all.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go with the White Dragon. I just think the matchup in what would be the quarterfinals between her and Mizuki would just, like you say earlier, there's a lot of history there, and I think Rika would just be over the moon if the cards fall in that direction. So I have Rika.
I'm excited for the group chat now.
Yeah,
I'm
what if
excited
it's
for. We told you. What do you
what?
know?
I forget her name, but what if it's Pinhead Rika? Then she's definitely winning.
Ah,
Yeah,
great Wakabayashi-kun.
Yeah, Wakabayashi.
Now that
Pinhead
would
Rika.
truly
It's
be
just
wild.
easier.
Yeah.
What a reference. We all selected the Mizuki, moving
How
on.
dare you?
The real
How?
Miz.
I stole that
Aw,
from Ref Mike. I
son.
have to give Ref Mike credit for that. The Miz will move on. Probably another comedy match to face Hyper Misao, our hero of love and peace, Mr. Matt Turner. Do you have Mizuki living out her evil villain era, or is Hyper Misao going to move on?
Now, one of the reasons why I had Yamashita win is because Mizuki's going to get the win here, and then we're going to reignite that feud of Miyu Yamashita versus Mizuki. It's one of the best feuds / rivalries in Tokyo Joshi Pro history. There's more eyes on this company. Yamashita's phenomenal. Mizuki's going to have a lot of steam going into this tournament, coming off what is going to be a great match against Willow Nightingale. Probably eat the L, as we mentioned on our preview episode, but there's gonna be a lot more eyes on Mizuki coming off that match. So I think with Miyu Yamashita versus Mizuki, might be a lot of people watching that match for the first time that really don't know too much of their history. That people are like, wow, like these two absolutely tore it down. So again, that's kind of the reason why I went with my next round match being Yamashita versus Mizuki. But I do have the popping Sugar Rabbit and getting the win over Hyper Misao.
Would you agree, Andy?
I would agree, I think, unless if Hyper Misao comes out with Andreza, then it's all over for Mizuki, because then it's the Mega Powers uniting with
The
Hyper.
mind games.
Yeah, and Andreza coming out there and Hyper getting revenge for Mizuki beating Andreza's wife. So yeah, I don't I like Hyper Misao, but I don't see her beating Mizuki here. So yeah, Mizuki goes forward.
I tend to agree. And then as we move into the bottom left of the bracket, all of us have Arisu Endo moving on to face Chika Nanase. Bit of a luck of the draw, I will say, for Chika getting that first round bye. Personally, I think that's an easy victory for Arisu. But Andy, what do you say? Would you agree that Arisu's moving on to the quarterfinals?
Yeah, I think that's everything you just said. I agree with 100%. Nothing against Chicken and Us, but yeah, against the Resendo, I think that's an easy second win for Resendo. It'll be a good match.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you, gentlemen. I think that Chicken and Nas going to have a great performance here. I think that even in a loss, again, wrestling, as it's one of the many reasons why it's the greatest sport in the world, that you can even win on a loss. And I think that's going to happen here with Chicken and Nas. I think she's going to have one of the best performances in her young career. But there's just too much steam behind Arisa Endo. There's too many people rooting for Arisa Endo. She's been so close so many times with these big matches. And I think there's going to be another really breakout tournament for her. So I do have Arisa Endo getting the win.
There is a little bit of a rumor floating around that either at Summer Sun Princess or for the Princess Cup that Chica will debut a new look or a new gear or something like that. There's a little bit of scuttlebutt going around the internet. So we'll have to wait and see. Maybe a refreshed Chica can make it happen. But the final first round matchup, or the second round matchup on the second, or the final second round matchup on the left side of the bracket. Easy for me to say. We all selected Wakana Uehara. She is going to go up against the powerful cheeky chap, Himawari. Matt, who do you have there?
This one's a little tricky because Himawari's getting a little bit of steam behind her. She's getting bigger and bigger reactions each and every show. So this could be something where it's like, okay, she's getting a little bit of a push. Now let's really push her and give her a nice run here. But again, with Wanaka Uehara forever, just doing so much on social media and getting a push of herself, I think Wanaka Uehara here gets the win. But I wouldn't be shocked if Himawari gets the win. But my official prediction is Wanaka forever Uehara picking up the win.
And Andy, would you agree with Wakana, or do you have Himawari using her hair to make it into the quarterfinals?
This one I think is on the same level as Wakana versus Mifu, and they make the makeshift tag team that's actually pretty good with, because they both have a lot of charisma. Mifu and Himawari here, but it's tough. I could see going either way, but I'm kind of leaning more towards Wakana. So yeah, Wakana's gonna move on to face Arisa Endo in my block. Wakana forever.
I would agree. I have Wakana Forever as well. I think the appetite is just a little too big.
Oh, there we
She
go.
can easily take down a sunflower, right?
Yeah, she can eat a whole bag of sunflower.
Oh, all the sunflower seeds. That's what it is,
Yeah.
right? That's the more apt comparison. Into the right side of the bracket, towards the top here, all of us have Toga beating Momosato to advance. Gonna set up a matchup of somewhat similar styles, Toga and Mahiro Kiryu. Matt, do you think that Mahiro can pull off a little bit of an upset here, or is Toga still steamrolling her way into the quarterfinals?
I think Toga picks up a win here. Again, Toga, somebody young into her career, getting 2 wins in the Tokyo Princess Cup is really going to establish her as somebody that is somebody to watch out for in the next year or two. But I think Toga does pick up the win.
And Andy?
Yeah, I'm in agreement. Mihiro could get the upset because maybe you could see it. She gets some type of upset, but I can't see her moving on. So I think Toga's going to get the win here. So Toga gets 2 wins in this tournament, and poor Mihiro doesn't get any. But maybe she get hit with Piper Mistyles have real.
That's true. That would be a successful tournament for her,
yeah.
right? I know she's very into the World Cup of late, so maybe she'll, I don't know, find some way to will that tournament energy into this. We'll have to see. But the next second round matchup here, this is one that hopefully it goes this way because I loved the match they had back in the fall, and I would love to see them run it back. That would be Miyu Watanabe. We all had Miyu moving on to take on Yuki Aino. Andy, who do you have there in that matchup?
Okay, here's where my controversial picks start for this tournament. I think Yuki's gonna beat Miyu here. I know Miyu's Miyu, so she has to get the 1 win, but I think they're gonna because Yuki really hasn't been doing much of anything. Nothing against her, just maybe her and Haru getting a tag title shot. But Miyu already has the tag title here, so that could not only build towards that match of Prison Breed versus Daydream, but then it also gives Yuki something to do, and Miyu will be all right because she advanced 1. So yeah, I have Yuki. I know moving on.
I guess all this smoke we're getting from our neighbors up in Canada is affecting the brain of Andy Header. No, you made good points, brother. I love Watanabe. She's such a great wrestler. I got Watanabe picking up the winner, but you did make some good points. They could have thrown a shocker there because Watanabe's always a main eventer. She's that wrestler that can lose like 5 or 6 matches in a row and then win the championship. Very much like she's the Tam of Tokyo Joshi Pro. Remember when Tam lost all those matches 2 years ago in the 5-star
And
Grand
won the
Prix and then
belt.
won the red belt, and we're like, she lost all these matches, but she's trying so much money. It's a business, folks. Anywho, I got Watanabe getting the win. This is going to be a surefire great match. And you're absolutely right, Andy's like, these two for the Prince of Princess Championship had a phenomenal match in Cork and Hall. I remember texting Andy Header as soon as I got done watching the match. I said, just when I think I've seen it all. It's like I saw these 2 ladies here in Tokyo Joshi Pro. They did a tackle off on the aisleway, and Watanabe took a bump into the second row. It was the simplest things. It wasn't like they did like a superplex, like a flaming table, or did like an 820 splash off the top of the building. It's just like, no, they did a tackle off, and Watanabe lost the tackle off so much that all of a sudden she wound up in the second row. I was like, it was so cool. I'm hoping we get that match, and I'm hoping they do tease the shoulder tackle spots because these 2 are fantastic. But I do have Watanabe getting the win. Moving on to the tournament. Keep in mind, Miyu Watanabe did win this tournament last year, so she's going to try to go back to back here.
I'm gonna break the tie here. I agree with my
Uh-oh.
fellow Andy. I have Yuki
Ooh.
Aino pulling off maybe an upset, maybe not, depending on how you look at it, but excited for this matchup. Into the bottom right side now, all of us have Suzume coming out to face off. Maybe babysit is a better word. Our resident 3-year-old, Pom Harajuku. Matt, do you think that the 3-year-old can pull this one off?
No, I know. And if either of you guys say Palm's gonna
No.
win, it's gonna
All
get
the way, baby.
it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad. No, Suzume, there's so much steam behind her. I see her going really far in this tournament. I don't see yelling at a bee a good way to get the bees to go away. However, you know what? Sometimes if you're yelling, you know what sometimes stops a child from yelling? Ringing a bell. So I think that's gonna happen from the cowboy from hell herself, one Suzume. Now this will be a fun match. You have your comedy, you have your wrestling. I think Suzume is gonna pick up the win here.
I would have to agree. I think Pom is just not quite on the same level. She is only 3 years old. She has plenty of time to make up that
Yeah.
distance. But Andy Header, what say you?
POFM, like her shirt says. Palm. Here's the question: what if it's Dino Palm? then that changes things a little bit. If Dino Palm comes out, because Dino Palm almost took out Shoko, or if she comes out with her Tesla that she brought out in Texas, then maybe Palm could win. But other than that, yeah, this is gonna be a win for Suzume, but it'll be an entertaining match. It'll be a fun match.
She could also come out in the alien costume, and
Oh, that's
maybe she
right.
plays some
Yeah.
mind games. They get abducted. There's a lot of options. But yeah, I think it's a safe bet for all of us. We're going with Suzume. And then all of us here at the bottom right have Yuki Arai coming into the second round to face Shoko Nakajima. This is another one that I am really, really excited about if it does come to pass. Andy, I know you're a huge fan of Shoko Nakajima. Are you picking her to advance in this tournament?
Not just because I am a big fan of Shoko Nakajima, but I think Shoko gets maybe an upset here over Yuki Urai. So that way, build towards a future title shot because I do have Yuki Urai going into this tournament as the Princess champion. So she, she wins one match, but then she loses the next. And that way, Shoko gets a title shot somewhere down the road. So yeah, I think Shoko is going to beat Yuki Urai here.
You know what? You're jogging my mind here, and I'm trying to think. And I have anybody to know it's gonna be Andy's. Like I know last year going into the tournament, Mizuki was the champion. Who knocked out Mizuki? Was it Shoko?
Oh gosh, you're gonna test my memory now. I'm sure everybody's like yelling at their phones because they know what the answer is. I don't know off the top of my
Go ahead.
head.
I'll go. If you want to do some research while I go through this
Yeah,
one.
go for it.
This is going to be fantastic. Yuki Arai is terrific. She's on another level. Shoko Nakajima is one of one. We see these special wrestlers, like somebody that like you literally stop. We always say like, I'm a big fan of Yamash and Watanabe, but if somebody said, "Hey Matt, you have to have a match with one wrestler from Tokyo Joshi Pro. Your life is on the line. You have to have a good match. Who you're having that match with? It's Shoko Nakajima." Because she's just a special talent. She makes everybody better. Yuki Arai is on the run of her life. Shoko is kind of somebody that's obviously in the tag team mix, but not the singles mix. And I think a nice little run here will kind of put her back on that. If she does get the win over Yuki Arai and then makes it far in the tournament or even wins it, then maybe we can see sometime in the fall her going back and challenging for the Princess champion. Now, this one's a softball because I think I even know this answer. I think the last time Shoko challenged for the Princess championship was in 2024 when Miyu Watanabe was champion on Miyu's V1. I think I have that right.
That is right, and it was Shoko that eliminated Mizuki last year as well.
Wow.
See that? A lot of love for Shoko here. So I got Shoko getting the win. I like to see Shoko get kind of pushed back to the top of the card because she is truly a special wrestler.
I agree with both of you. I think this is Shoko's for the taking. I like, Andy, that you said it could potentially set her up for a title shot. Whether she wins this tournament or not to get that title shot, I think she will. It's a great matchup for them to do with Arai. Again, I'm assuming Arai comes into this as the Princess champion as well. So we all have Shoko there. As we move into the quarterfinals, into the upper left of the bracket, both of you have Miyu Yamashita moving on against Rika Tatsumi to face Mizuki. So Matt, I will start with you. Another terrific, terrific battle. Yamashita and Mizuki, who are you picking?
I can get Mizuki, you get the win here. I think Mizuki, again, there's a lot of steam behind her between everything, all the giftable stuff we see on the internet. Again, she's wrestling a big talent in AEW and Willow Nightingale this weekend. More eyes on her. I think Mizuki picks up the win over her arch nemesis here in one Miyu Yamashita. So I got Mizuki moving on to the next round.
And Andy, do you have the same?
I do. I think this is going to be one of the best matches of the whole tournament, Miyu versus Mizuki. If it plays out that way, it'd be really good. But I don't think Miyu needs to go any further because she is getting a power shot as we a little bit more than 24 hours from right now. So doesn't mean everyone so soon. So yeah, I see Mizuki beating Miyu here and moving on.
And in my battle of the one-sided love affair between Rika and Mizuki, I have Rika upsetting Mizuki there. I think Rika's
totally
gonna fight very, very valiantly and defeat Mizuki, and then maybe try to make up with her, and Mizuki won't be feeling it. Many times, Mizuki wants nothing to do with Rika, but that is who I have. As we go down next, I think all of us have the same matchup here in the bottom left of the bracket: Arisu Endo and Wakana Uehara. To me, this is another great matchup. Again, we'll have to see what happens with Wakana coming out of this weekend with the International Princess title. But personally, regardless, I think Arisu, this is her match to lose. Matt, what say you?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think Arisa has having such a great year. Again, made it to the finals last year of this tournament, eventually losing to Miyu Watanabe. I think Arisa gets a win here, then moving her into the we're on to the semifinals. So yeah, moving on to the semifinals. So my semifinals is Mizuki versus Arisa Endo.
And Andy, do you have the same, or do you have a little bit of an upset here from our hungriest pro wrestler?
I could see it happening, but I don't think it will. I'm kind of right there with Matt here. I have Mizuki versus Arisa Endo. I think Arisa Endo is really gonna to have a strong showing in this tournament. More on that later. So yeah, I think this match will be awesome. Arisa versus Mizuki, that should just be really really good. So, but I mean Arisa versus Wakana, that would be a good match too. Like yeah, I don't see Wakana. I mean they're big on Wakana, and maybe she win the IP title this weekend, but I think that Arisa will beat Wakana.
I think it could set up a nice title challenge, assuming Wakana
Mhm.
is able to win that belt. Maybe Arisu is able to
Yeah.
then challenge for that international princess title once again, because she had such a terrific first run with it. Maybe she's graduated a little bit beyond it, but we did see Suzume then go back into the international princess title after her challenge as well. So food for thought. I think there's a lot of different avenues they could go coming out of this tournament. Moving on into the upper right quarterfinal, all of us have Toga emerging out here. And then this is where we split a little bit. Myself and Andy, we both have her meeting Yuki Aino. Matt,
Mhm.
you have her meeting Miyu Watanabe. So, Andy, we'll start with you between Yuki Aino and Toga. Another very hard hitting matchup. Who are you picking to advance there?
Yeah, should be a good one, but I think this is the end of the line for Toga here. I think Yuki Aino is moving on here. I think they're gonna put a lot of steam behind Yuki Aino for this tournament because she hasn't been doing too much. I mean, the tactile shot that probably is coming, but as far as signals, it's been a while since she challenged the title. So I think Yuki Aino beats Toga here and moves on.
And Matt, do you have Miyu? Would Miyu be beating Toga here, or do you have Toga moving on?
Andy Header, you said Toga was this is the end of the line for her. Would she be the last in line?
Oh, the last in line, little Dio reference there.
Oh, deal,
Dun,
baby.
dun,
No,
dun,
I got
dun, dun, dun,
Watanabe.
dun.
Miyu Watanabe. And this is a great story because now you can make it like Miyu Watanabe. Can she go back to back? Be only the second wrestler to ever do it because in 2019 and 2020, Mizuki did it. And you know how I know that, Andy Header? I
Now,
listen to Tokyo Joshi Pod. New episodes
there you
out every
go.
Friday. I love how I'm plugging a
You're
show that
plugging the
You're
is
episode
listening
that you
to.
were currently on. I love it.
that I'm on. See that I'm a plug machine. I'm a plug
Listen,
machine.
listen to the show you are listening to right now.
That's right.
Just in
Then
case you wanted to stop listening.
download it twice just in case you lose one.
It's like when you go to the movies and they show like they
That's
show the
right.
trailers and then there's that clip with what's her name and it always angers me because it's like come see the Regal Theater. I'm in the theater already. I can't get any more in the theater.
How funny would it be if you left? I'm like, oh,
Yeah, I
there's one right here. You go
I'd
back
like to
in
pay again.
just in
Anyway,
case I lose it.
yeah.
Okay. So then looking at the bottom right of the bracket, we are fully in alignment here. We all have Suzume advancing. We all have Shoko Nakajima advancing. This is one heck of a matchup as well. I think as we get further and further along in these brackets, the matchups are can't miss. They're going to be hard hitting. They're going to be main event talent. And
Yeah, really.
really, we get to the point where these can start going either way. But Andy, I will start with you. Do you have the Vivid Honey Mustard moving on, or do you have the Big Kaiju?
What a match this is going to be if this is the way it plays out. Well, I think it is with Suzume and Shoko. Shoko already got her title shot at Yuki Arai from beating her, maybe. So, but I don't think she's going to get an IP title shot because I do have Suzume keeping IP title eligible in this. So I think Suzume is going to be Shoko here. But what a match this is going to be. Yeah, ring a bell not once, but twice on Shoko. That's how Suzume moves forward through the semifinals.
This is so tough. This is the only one I actually crossed out. I
Wow.
originally had Shoko, and then myself and Andy Header, we did our interview with Suzume. We did ask, who do you want to face in Tokyo Princess Cup? Her answer was Arisa Endo. The only way they can meet is in the finals. And she even said that we promised each other to meet each other in the finals. And I was like, huh. Now, I did mention on our podcast, Talk Joshi, that if Suzume does lose the IP title to Wakana,
Yeah.
that she's my pick to win the tournament. However, we don't know that result. So I'm going to stick with what I have. However, as far as this match goes, I think Suzume picks up the win here. I think you have Suzume, somebody that everybody's behind, getting a win over one of the best wrestlers in this company and has been one of the best wrestlers in the history of this company. I think that'll speak so much for Suzume picking up a win. So I do have Suzume meeting Miyu Watanabe. Again, put your business
Ooh,
hat on, folks. Last
rematch.
time these two wrestled was in Corkin Hall, 1,500 people. You're telling me if they run Miyu Watanabe and Suzume, it's not going to draw at least 40 tickets? You're out of your mind, folks. You're out of your mind.
I'm in agreement. I also have Suzume. It would be really a big upset, I would think, just given the stature of Shoko. She is the big kaiju after all. But Bee versus Monster. That's a Godzilla movie. I think that they haven't made.
David versus Goliath is what that
That's-
is.
yeah,
It's like a Mothra, but a bee version of Mothra.
right. A much smaller, a miniature Mothra, right?
Yeah.
So moving into the final four, Andy, you have Suzume, Yuki Aino, Arisu, and Mizuki. Matt, you
Mhm.
have almost the same. You have Suzume, Miyu Watanabe, Arisu, and Mizuki. And myself, I have Suzume, Yuki Aino, Arisu, and Rika Tatsumi. So we'll start on the left side, Andy, between Mizuki and Arisu Endo. Do you think Arisu continues on the magic here? Do you think Mizuki's a little bit too tough of a task for her? Who are you picking to make it into the finals?
This one, the 13, is an unlucky number, but not for Arisu. It's her lucky number because I think Arisu is going to beat Mizuki here to make it all the way to the finals. That's why I've kind of been figuring for a while here that Arisu is going to win this whole thing. So, yeah, I have Arisu moving on. It'll be a hell of a match.
And Matt, you have the same matchup. Who are you picking?
Yeah, I had just made mentions about how like Suzume, this is what they want. They want all Daisy Monkey final, and this is kind of it's what she said in her interview. That being said, I'm picking Mizuki, and I'll tell you my reason why here in once we kind of get through everything. But I mean, this is it because they can tease it, right? We get to the final four, like, oh my goodness, we may get an all Daisy Monkey final. We may get Miyu versus Mizuki, which was the main event last year at Wrestle Princess and the main event at last year's Itian show. So it's like either way this combination goes, it would be great if that's the way it shapes out. I just think it's Mizuki's gonna get a win. And again, I'll get into it a little bit deeper in a few moments.
For my matchup between Rika and Arisu, I too have Arisu moving on. I think she had a terrific, terrific year last year, making it to the finals. I have her making it to the finals yet again in back-to-back years. Over on the right side of the bracket, Matt, we will start with you. You have an excellent rematch here, Miyu Watanabe and Suzume.
Suzume gets the win, gets her win back, putting Suzume in the finals, being the former Miss Everything in this company, and thus Suzume ringing the bell, picking up the win over Miyu Watanabe, setting up my finals of Mizuki versus Suzume.
That's going to be one heck of a matchup in both the semifinals and then that finals matchup. We'll get there in a moment. But Andy, you have Suzume and Yuki Aino. Who do you have advancing there?
So Suzume did say that she wants to wrestle Arisendo, and if they did, it'd be the finals, not be like their dream. But I don't think it's going to happen here because I think Suzume will have the International Princess title, so she has something to do. Yuki Aino does not have something to do right now, so I have Yuki Aino beating Suzume and making it to the finals. So my finals is Arisendo versus Yuki Aino.
Terrific matchups all around myself. I'm going to have Daisy Monkey explode in the finals. I have Arisu meeting Suzume. Call me a mark. I am bought into the storyline, but I think it would be tremendous. So as we look to the finals, Andy, I will kick it back to you to get us started here. Your final of Arisu Endo and Yuki Aino. Who do you have being the 13th Tokyo Princess Cup winner?
I'm gonna tip my hat a little bit, but I really think this is Arisu's year to win the whole thing. I mean, she's had a hell of a year. She's got a lot of steam behind her. So yeah, Arisu Endo wins this whole thing and moves on to get the title shot. I just think it's the right way to go here. Nothing against Yuki Aino or whoever it will be, but I think Arisu Endo definitely wins the whole thing.
And Matt, you have a little bit of a different construction here. Mizuki meeting Suzume. Who is your pick for the winner of the Princess Cup?
Has the IP champion or the Princess of Princess champion ever won the Tokyo Princess Cup? We actually were talking about that on Talk Joshi.
It might have happened a long time ago, not recently. But that said, this year was the year that Uber Eats, the current tag champions, won the tag team tournament. So it is possible.
True,
Yeah.
true. With that being said, I think Mizuki gets the win. I think Mizuki wins the Tokyo Princess Cup. I think she goes on to wrestle Princess to challenge for the championship, which I think is going to be Yuki Arai. And here's my reasons behind it. We have talked about this, the three of us, both off and on air, that Yuki Arai is the person they're establishing as the next constant main eventers with the Shokos, the Watanabes, the Mizukis, the Yamashtas. And what have they done with Yuki Arai? Beats Miyu Watanabe in Sumo Hall, the highest attended show in Tokyo Joshi Pro history. She has 3 great championship matches back to back to back with J-Rod, with Yuki Aino, and with Kamiyu. This weekend, she's wrestling the ace of the company, one of the best wrestlers on planet Earth, Miyu Yamashita. If she gets that win here, then more than likely she goes to Oda Ward, wrestle Princess, and then meets the winner of this tournament. And if you do remember when Mizuki was champion, it was the main event of Summer Sun Princess last year was what, Andy Zyke?
The main event of Summer Sun Princess was Arai's first challenge against Mizuki.
And she lost. So she'll get her win back and then really establish her into that main event scene that she's pretty much already there. And beating Mizuki, coming off Mizuki, a match that a lot of people watched against Willow Nightingale, because Willow Nightingale, AEW's on a roll. Everybody loves Willow Nightingale. She's a great wrestler. So there's going to be all these new eyes on Mizuki. Mizuki wins the tournament. They take those new eyes to the match with Yuki Arai. Yuki Arai wins and gets her win back. So those are all the connecting of the dots on why I think Mizuki's going to win, but then ultimately put over Yuki Arai.
It makes sense. It's a terrific argument. It would be Mizuki's 3rd Princess Cup victory, the most of anybody. She is currently tied at 2 Princess Cup victories. That would set her above the pack. And what a great person to have that 3rd Princess Cup victory. Myself, between the Daisy Monkey explosion, I'm going to roll with Suzume. I have Suzume winning here. I think, again, factoring in that she loses the title, in my opinion, this weekend, and then enters this tournament, goes on a run, and she is elevated back into that main event, that Princess of Princess title scene, and we get a terrific matchup between her and Arai. I'm also thinking that we did just see the Arisu matchup with Arai, and I'm wondering, like, will they go back to it quite so soon? It's totally possible. I think all of the kind of permutations here that we talked about this year is wide open. Anything is possible. And I, for one, am very, very excited. I know you guys are very, very excited. I think all of us have been talking about it now for weeks, and we don't have to wait much longer. It will start on Monday. We have a big speed bump to get through before we get there with the Summer Sun Princess show. But my friends, thank you so much for coming on. This was so much fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope all of you listening out there enjoyed it. Before you go, I know you guys do terrific work. I have been on your show a handful of times. It is always a delight. Your coverage of not just TJPW, but Joshi wrestling as a whole, American wrestling. You guys do it all. You're some of the hardest workers out there. Would love to give you guys a chance just to talk about Talk Joshi, talk about what you have upcoming, and plug your socials as well.
Yeah, obviously, again, on Talk Joshi this past week, myself and Andy Header, we did review the big show in Sendai Girls. It had that great 1-2 punch, the biggest show in Sendai Girls. It was a really great show, but it had that really great 1-2 punch with a Bob Moe and Banana challenging Red Energy for the Sendai Girls Tag Team Championships, and then a must-see main event match with the Benny challenging Chiro Hashimoto, my opinion, the wrestler of the year so far this year, Chiro Hashimoto, for the Sendai Girls World Championship. And then next week, sometime, obviously, myself and Andy have to figure out when we can record. Next week, the idea is we're going to review the Sendai Girls show from Cork and Hall that takes place the same day as the opener of the Tokyo Princess Cup, which is also the same day as night 3 of Stardom's 5-star Grand Prix, which is on a Monday, not even a weekend. You don't have to wait for the weekend. It comes right after the weekend. Who says Mondays aren't great? So we're going to review all that. And again, the Sendai Girls show is main evented in Cork and Hall with Chihiro Hashimoto defending the championship against Shuri. Yes, former World of Stardom champion and current IWGP Joshi champion Shuri. And then myself and Andy Header are going to also review Summer Sun Princess as well as night 1 of the Tokyo Princess Cup. So it is going to be a long yet fun episode. So, partner, I'm really looking forward to recording all that goodness with you next week.
Yeah, and we got a lot coming up, and it's one of the things where we got a ton of stuff on this show, and like for the past couple of shows that we've just been redoing one show because that's all that we really have. I mean, we talk about some the Joshis that are popping up in AEW or what he is doing on Raw or SmackDown,
NXT
stuff
as
like that.
well. Yeah,
Yeah,
NXT
NXT.
Women's
Yeah.
Division's been phenomenal. If you have not watched like Kendall
hmm
Gray, Kalani Jordan, Lola Vice, we think Xena is going to pop up there soon from Stardom.
Yeah.
So I think she'll fit in really well. But there's just been so much great Joshi / women's action that we covered all, not only on Talk Joshi, but obviously the
Yep.
Stardom cast and the Marigold Standard, which, Andy Header, I don't know if you know this, is all under the World of Joshi Podcasting Network banner, buddy.
You search for that, and it'll all come right up, and you can listen to us talk about that. And as well, we talked about with Women of Honor too. That's one segment. We're doing the Women of Honor matches. So yeah, we try to cover as much as we possibly can. It's impossible to cover it all, but yeah, no, we try to cover as much as we can. So if you listen to this and you want even more Tokyo Joshi Pro coverage, then hop on over and listen to our show. But it's not just that. We got Sentai Girls, Marvelous, whatever we can sink our teeth into. We try to review and at least talk about.
And obviously, if you're listening to this, you are a fan of Tokyo Joshi Pro. A couple months ago, we did release our interviews with Shoko Nakajima, Miyu Watanabe. Obviously, we were able to interview Miyu Yamashita, Suzume, and Yuki Arai. The Suzume is on the feed now. By the time this episode drops, the Yuki Arai should be on your feed as well. And then we were able to interview, I'm missing one, buddy. We had 4 this round. It was Yamashita, Arisa Endo. Or how can I forget? Arisa Endo. So yeah, I mean, we have 6 interviews up. Hopefully, I mean, Tokyo Joshi Pro has been nothing but great with us, giving us access to the roster. Hopefully, we're able to interview some more wrestlers. And the Gerbster did confirm with me we're going to be interviewing a Gaijin wrestler that has wrestled in Tokyo Joshi Pro. She's currently in Japan, but then coming back. So I'm not allowed to say who it is just yet. I'm waiting for the go on that one. But I cannot wait. And that will be an actual not in-person interview, but over like the Zoom StreamYard thing. So I'm really excited for that. I'll give a little hint because I know I didn't tell Andy Header. It's the tag partner of Andy Header's good friend. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm sure you figured that out real quick, buddy.
Looking forward to it.
Well, terrific. There is so much good stuff coming up. It sounds like I love the coverage that you guys do. The interviews are great. If you guys have not listened to any of the Talk Joshi interviews, please go check those out. Where can everybody find all this excellent Talk Joshi stuff?
You can follow me on social media at Matt Turner OF on the Instagram and Twitter is the easiest, fastest, and best way to get a hold of me. You can follow us at Talk Joshi 2025 on the Twitter as well. I'm going to be doing instant reaction video for not only the start of the 5-star Grand Prix, but as well as Summer Sun Princess. So again, if you're listening to this, I'm assuming you're a fan of Tokyo Joshi Pro. As soon as the show ends, probably like 1 a.m. my time, I will go downstairs to my kitchen so I don't wake my wife up, and I will do a quick 1.5 to 2 minute video, instant reaction of Summer Sun Princess, and that will be on my YouTube page as well as my TikTok page. Just search Matt Turner. All of that does come up.
And Andy, I know you are still wrestling quite a bit. I know you got some dates and stuff upcoming. Where can people follow you and your Talk Joshi coverage and your wrestling career?
Yeah, just type in Talk Joshi and anywhere you find podcasts, and we'll come right up. And you can subscribe there. The World of Joshi, if you're there, just comes up, just Talk Joshi. You'll find it. But it calls up. Especially if you have the World of Joshi Patreon, then the Talk Joshis pop up there first before our main feed. And if you want to follow me on Facebook or Instagram, just type in it here. I'll come right up. Use Sky MH24 and Twitter, X, whatever you like to call it. I am at Get Some Header Unintended.
Well, there you have it. This was a blast, guys. I thank you again for coming on. Always great to talk some Joshi with you. That's my cheap plug for you guys. Not that you need my support, but I always appreciate it. Thank you guys for coming on.
Well, no problem.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you.
Last but certainly not least, you've seen him in Texas, you've seen him in Vegas, and you've now even seen him in Japan. Ref Mike, friend of the show, Mike Fullilove is back to make his picks in this year's Princess Cup. Maybe he'll pick Palm. Maybe he's gotten over that grudge. You'll just have to stay tuned to see if he has a few harbored feelings over a burst eardrum or two. He's back, ladies and gentlemen, friend of the show, Ref Mike Fullilove. My friend, how are you?
I am good. I mean, full disclosure, the pre-show was wild. Someone's gonna listen to that part and go like, "What?" No,
we've been chatting for quite a while, just playing catch up. We haven't we text all the time here and there, but we haven't actually like chatted face to face in quite a while. So we were playing catch up, shooting the breeze, as they say, about TJPW and wrestling and all different stuff, but it's always good to catch up with you, my friend. Today, actually, before we get into this, we really haven't spoken, it's certainly not on the show, since you've been to Japan. So I want to ask you real quick, how was your experience in Japan?
That could be another hour long podcast. Japan was really cool. I think what's funny is that I always sort of envision myself as like someone just trying to help and someone just trying to kind of help grow Tokyo Joshi Pro, really help grow all the wrestling promotions I do work for. And I think what's really great is that they have definitely made it a point to mention how much they appreciate the fact that I've traveled, I guess now I can say, all over the world, working with Tokyo Joshi Pro. And you know how it works is I get like a message and they say, "Hey, can you be in this town?" Or sometimes I'll reach out and say, "What's your year looking like?" And they'll say, "We're thinking of these dates," and we'll agree on something, and then I'll show up. And the fact that they've appreciated that, they've been really super welcoming all over the planet. Especially appreciative that I took the time to go to Tokyo, to go to Shizuoka, and work with them. They appreciated it, but also like I appreciated them welcoming me, being very patient with me, even with the language barrier. It was such a cool experience, you know, like I'm standing on the actual TJPW canvas, um, and trying not to like look down at my own feet. You know, it was like that. Some of those moments were like so cool. But yeah, Tokyo Joshi Pro. It's also really nice. You go 7,000 miles away from home and you see familiar faces. And I know I've been that for them when they come to America, and I didn't really realize like how big of a deal that can be until I went over there and I was like, "Oh, so that's why they're like so nice to me and always happy to see me." I thought they were being polite. And meanwhile, I'm like, no, it's just good to see a familiar face and someone you can communicate with functionally.
Bit of a role reversal, I guess. Yeah.
Absolutely. And like I kind of sort of maybe was feeling like, okay, maybe that's how some of them feel. But to go over to experience now for the people that do feel that way, I can definitely say like, oh, I totally understand why they're appreciative that I do show up. And for me, like as a fan of TJPW and now someone who works there, um, I'm just so appreciative that they're happy that I'm a part of them and that I'm also happy to be a part of it as well. So it was a really, really cool experience. And yeah, you'll see I will be a part of the company in some way, shape, or forms on occasion here and there. So it's not the end. But yeah, it was cool. It was great.
Well, love that. We obviously everybody loved to see you. Everybody was, I think a lot of people were surprised to see you too. But it was a pleasant surprise to see you pop up on the Wrestle Universe, the different streams, and then obviously you were at some pretty big shows, some pretty big venues as well. Like you said, we could probably spend a whole podcast just chatting all about your experiences and even outside of TJPW, just your experiences in Japan and what that was like. But today, we are here to talk about the 13th annual Tokyo Princess Cup, the biggest Tokyo Princess Cup in the history of TJPW. We're going to go upper left. The first round matchup here is quite an intense one as Uda Takami will muster up as much as she can in a one-on-one contest with Miyu Yamashita. Who are you picking there?
Oh, so I've been working with Miyu Yamashita for a bit of a while through MLW, Devil Pro Wrestling, and then finally Tokyo Joshi Pro, and she's one of the people I refereed in Japan as well. I will say also being in the ring with Takami a bunch of times, I don't know if it like the camera doesn't quite pick up how precise, how quick, how hard she hits, things like that. It's kind of deceptive for like how skilled she really is at such a young age. The one thing I really like saw in research was that Uda Takami has had 31 tag matches this year and only 6 singles matches. She only has one single match victory. So in single competition, she has one win this year. Meanwhile, Miyu Yamashita has wins over Janai Kai, Nicole Matthews, Senka, and Chris Statlander. So I'm gonna have to go with Miyu Yamashita in this one.
I like that you did the research. I think a lot of people would just look on paper and say, well, Uda's going to get her head kicked off. But you actually provided the research to support the idea that Uda Takami may get her head kicked off here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and Janai Kai is the homie. So like if I can mention Janai Kai, I'll always have to mention Janai Kai. So yeah.
There you
Yes.
go. There you go. Moving down to the next contest in the first round, probably a little bit more of a comedy skewing contest. We'll see Raku take on Mizuki.
But yeah, this one's tough for me because like Raku is as a coworker, she's been really great. She's been, super friendly, super welcoming, and really a ton of fun to work with, even if a little unpredictable. I will say though, Mizuki actually has 4 wins over Raku in 2026. I think she picks up number 5 here. There's something about being in the ring with Mizuki where there's like an aura there. Um, she's I don't how do I say Mizuki is intimidating, but she's like super intimidating. So I'm gonna give the edge to Mizuki in this one.
To Mizuki. Okay. Continuing on down on the left side, probably one of the toughest first round matchups to call. That's what I'm gathering. That's also my opinion here. Arisu Endo going one on one with Sakura Hattori. Two, really, a lot of people had both of these as favorites to win this tournament. So who are you picking here in this very intense first round matchup?
Okay, so yeah, this one I agree because I think this was the toughest one to pick. For me, with Endusan having wins over Priscilla Kelly and Alice Crowley, and a super gutsy performance against Spark Rush with Miyu Yamashita as her partner. I think this is her year. I think this is her time to make a big run in this tournament. Having said that, though, Sakura Tori actually has the highest win percentage of any Tokyo Joshi Pro wrestler in 2026 with a 78% win percentage. I will say though, her last singles loss was Las Vegas for the International Princess Championship against Suzume. I was the ref. I was very much so there. Suzume and Endusan are partners, so they're gonna definitely trade notes, and I feel like that gives Endusan the edge. Arisa Endu advances.
I could certainly see that. You have to imagine that as close as Daisy Monkey are, they're definitely swapping notes. And I think Suzume is, at least in the first couple of rounds, until maybe they meet a little bit later on. We'll have to see how your bracket goes. But I do like that idea of kind of sharing some tips and some tactics. Myself, I have Arisu. We're actually lining up quite well so far with our full brackets. But the last one here, last first round matchup on the left hand side, we'll see the world's hungriest pro wrestler, Wakana Uehara, take on our resident cheerleader, Mifu Ashida.
Yep. I think this one will be interesting. Uehara-san could be she's coming off of a big win against Toga at standalone. But she might have the International Princess title with her in this tournament. She might win that championship this coming weekend. And while Ashida-san, as an Ice Ribbon alum, have been really entertaining, she's really struggled to find victories as of late. And she's actually on like a 9-match losing streak. And I actually refed one of the matches in her losing streak back when I was in Japan. So I think with Uehara-san, it's like she's either continuing momentum after winning a title or bouncing back after losing momentum with losing to Suzume in the International Princess Championship match. But I am going to have to pick Wakana Uehara. She will advance.
All right. And then as we move up into the upper right side of the bracket, we have Toga taking on who will be the newest wrestler to debut for TJPW just 2 days prior to this opening round, Momosato.
Yeah, it's a lot to come into a organization brand new to wrestling. And to make a debut in this environment has to be like insurmountably difficult. Obviously Sato-san is younger. I actually got a chance to meet her. We were actually in charge of tearing down the ring and cleaning up in Shizuoka, which was actually really cool. She's super nice, hardworking. And I think that like year over year, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, I think she'll be a really, really big name for Tokyo Joshi Pro. Having said that, I'm going to have to go with Toga here. And the recent experience that Toga has had traveling the world as well. And Toga looked really good as well in a lot of her contests as of late. I think that the debut of Sato-san will be a really cool thing to see. But I think Toga handedly takes care of this one and advances.
Certainly a big, a tall task for her to jump really right after her debut into the biggest tournament, the biggest annual tournament with TJPW, but also the biggest iteration of that annual tournament. She is definitely has a tall task in front of her, especially with Toga, as you mentioned. The next first round matchup here on the right hand side, one that may have some upset potential. We have Miyu Watanabe and Ren Kanatsu going one on one.
Yeah, Ren Kanatsu is actually in that sort of rounding the corner of year 2 as a pro wrestler. And it's that time where you kind of go from being a rookie to kind of going, okay, I know what I should be doing. I know what my mistakes are. I know why things are going wrong. And even while stuff begins to make more sense and things slow down a bit, she's taking on a true ace in Miyu Watanabe. Even if Watanabe-san has like a title defense a few days before, I have Watanabe-san advancing by a stalling teardrop. That's a victory for Watanabe-san.
Wow, you're even picking the finishes too. I love it. Next up, maybe another matchup that has a little bit of upset potential, just based on how these younger competitors are really growing at like a rapid pace. I feel like no one has grown. Maybe Ren Kanatsu, but really close second. No one has grown quite as fast as Shion Kanzaki, debuting just a mere 6 months ago, and it feels like she's been here forever. But she too will have a pretty tough task up against her. She will be facing off against Suzume, may or may not be the International Princess Champion at this time, but regardless, very tough task, Suzume and Shion Kanzaki.
Yeah, I got the opportunity to meet Kanzaki-san when I was she was actually one of the first people I introduced myself to in Tokyo when I had arrived. And she's great. I think that like she's gonna find her form eventually. I think she's still sort of figuring out and feeling out who she is. For example, she is 0-30 this year. And I would love to see her get her first victory here, but Suzume is just too resilient, too experienced, too quick, too shifty, too talented. And I think that and again, same thing with like Uehara-san, if she's coming off of a victory where she retains the title or if she loses it, she'll get her momentum back or will continue her momentum. Suzume by a ring a bell. She'll advance.
It would be one heck of a first victory for Shion if she is able to pull off the upset. I think there's a world where it's possible, but I agree with you again. I think our brackets are falling pretty much in line here. I too have Suzume. The final first round matchup in the bottom right of the bracket, we'll see Haru Kazushiro against the potential Princess of Princess champion. She is the Princess of Princess champion as we record this. Yuki Rai will be up in front of Haru Kazushiro. Who are you picking there?
Something I thought was really fascinating here. Apparently, these two have never had a singles match against each other. Kazushiro is hyper talented. Again, 10 years from now, we'll be really, really enjoying some really stellar performances in her midst. But the genius girl gets it done here. One thing to also watch out for, because of Kazuchiro's style of attack, she tends to sort of have like a stump puller kind of thing with the arm and like a triangle straight arm Kimura lock combination. Something like that can cause sort of injuries and can whittle down, like an arm of a Yuki Arai. And in a tournament, that can be really, really problematic. So I think that's something to watch. Genius girl, Yuki Arai, she gets it done, but I have a funny feeling she'll be trailing with a bit of an arm injury and then carrying that with her through the tournament. Yuki Arai wins and advances.
Okay, we'll have to see if that comes into play as we continue through. I think both of our first rounds are identical here. So as we move into round 2, going back up into the upper left, you have Miyu Yamashita advancing. She's going to take on fellow pillar in Rika Tatsumi, waiting for her in that second round.
All right. So a point I tried very hard not to mention in the Yuta Takami matchup for Miyu Yamashita, she has struggled in this tournament in her career. It's been well documented, her struggles. She did win it in 2023. But in this matchup, Rika Tatsumi does have a wide variety of attacks that target the legs, specifically that figure 4, dragon screw leg whip. If someone has a kick-heavy offense and you don't have a leg to plan on because Rika Tatsumi has just taken it out from under you, that heavily favors Rika Tatsumi. She has a ton of experience. I think debuted in 2024. I think she has enough experience in this tournament and against Miyu Yamashita and in wrestling in general to actually win this matchup. So I have Rika Tatsumi winning with the figure 4 leg lock and advancing.
As we move down, you had Mizuki moving on, probably back-to-back comedy matches here for Mizuki. In the second round, she will face off against Hyper Misao.
Yeah, I think the Miz here will be coming off with some beauty sleep versus Raku. I think she'll be well rested. And she'll need it after that Willow Nightingale matchup that she has coming up next. In terms of weapons, like you have like the Mizuki hammer, Pico hammer, and then versus like the Cold Spray or the Hypermobile. So that'll be interesting to see what different artillery these two throw at each other. I'm gonna have to go with Mizuki here. I think she will be able to advance.
Sounds good. And as we go down into the bottom right quadrant of the bracket, you had Arisu Endo coming out of that very tough matchup with Sakura. Maybe has a little bit of an easier matchup in the second round against Chika Nanase.
Randomly on X, I stumbled upon a post from Nanase-san saying that I think it's time for her to get a new look. My main prediction for this match is that she comes through with a new set of gear. She has a new costume and a new look for this matchup. Having said that, she's done okay this year, but I think this is the year of Endu-san, Arisu Endu. I am picking to advance.
That's going to be something. Now I have a little bit more of a renewed interest in that second round match, thanks to you. So
There you go.
the final one here on the bottom right side, Wakana Uehara will end up facing Himawari in your bracket. So who do you have there?
Interesting thing here. Himawari-san is on a 6-match losing streak since the hiatus of Shino Suzuki. And I think the bumping gritters are really starting to hit their stride, and they were kind of like peckerboarding matches, winning, losing, winning, losing. They were really growing as a team. Himawari's by herself now. Obviously, Wakana Uehara, we haven't seen Oberitz since they lost the Princess Tag Championships, I think maybe once or twice or so. So similar kind of deal there. Having said that, Uehara-san, I believe, will advance here, keeping her momentum keeping her momentum from the win against Miho Ashita. So I have Wakana Uehara advancing.
All right. And then as we move back over to the right side of the bracket, you had Toga coming out over Momo Sato. And then she's going to face probably a competitor that is a similar fighting style to her in Mihiro Kiryu.
Toga is just really, really composed, really steady. Kiryu-san, it should be noted that she's on a bit of a cold streak, and I think she's probably just distracted by the World Cup. Thankfully, she gets a first round bye, so she can actually watch the finals in peace. So good for her. Still, I think Toga, and I mentioned her travels here. I mean, getting a lot of really great experiences there. Even teaming with a buddy of mine in Jazzy Yang, shout out to Teriyaki. Toga, in my opinion, very steady, very composed, very talented. Toga will advance.
All right. And then we have quite another interesting second round matchup if this does come to pass. And I have this one circled because I loved their matchup that they had back in the fall over the Princess of Princess title. Miyu Watanabe potentially going one-on-one with Yuki Aino.
This was a tough one. This was the one where I had a bracket. I circled one name, redid my bracket. I circled another name. Their win percentages are very comparable this year. Both were obviously in active tag team situations, but with Miyu Watanabe being a tag team champion, and also an up girl, I mean, that's a high set of demands. I'm going to go with Yuki Aino in an upset here. I don't even feel like it's an upset, but like I have to go. I'm just going to go Yuki Aino here. It's just the feeling.
Personally, I loved the matchup that they had over that Princess of Princess title and would love for them to find that magic once again here. I think they will. As we move on down to the final section of the bracket, we have Suzume going up against probably your nemesis. I'm sorry if we touch a nerve here at all, but Suzume and Pam Harajuku. I have a feeling which way you might go, but maybe you'll surprise us. So what do you think for Suzume and Pam?
So it should be noted that hornets don't have ears, and therefore Palm's sonic attacks will not be effective. Yeah, I think Suzume advances here.
That played out about as I expected it to, and I like that you've done as much research as possible about how to evade some of those sonic attacks from Palm. So
I mean, I have not been successful. I think Suzume will be able to handle it.
maybe you should take some notes then as we watch this matchup to see what next time might hold for you with Palm. But as we go into the final second round matchup here on the bottom right side, Yuki Arai, another really great matchup here. Yuki Arai and Shoko Nakajima.
Wow, another tough one. Super tough. I wonder if the big kaiju could attempt to capitalize on the arm issues caused by Kazushiro here, as they were formerly members of the TJPW Tokusatsu Club. This could be champion versus champion, with Nakajima-san becoming a Princess Tag champion this coming weekend. I'm gonna have to almost pains me to say so, pains me to do this, but I'm gonna have to pick Arai-san. I think the pride of being a world champion currently of an organization, a first round exit would be so devastating to just her momentum. I don't think Arai-san will allow that to happen. Yuki Arai will advance.
I I'm this was a tough one for me as well. I did end up going with Shoko with the thought that whether Shoko ends up winning this tournament or not, a win over the current champion would of course give you some grounds to then challenge for that championship. And I think that would just be one heck of a matchup to run back. As we move into the quarterfinals of the bracket, the matchups continue to get quite good, the potential matchups here. So, with your first quarterfinal matchup in the upper left, you have this would be an interesting pairing. Rika Tatsumi and Mizuki. I'm sure Rika would be salivating over the prospect of having this matchup. But what would you say here? How do you envision this one playing out if we get to it? And then who comes out into the final four?
In Shizuoka, I was very suddenly, I was not expecting it, but I was forced to try to restrain Rika Tatsumi from grabbing Mizuki post match. I did the best I could. I just sort of could just do nothing but stand by and just tell her to please stop. We all know the history here. I think the murderer's row that Mizuki has had to this point, I think it catches up to her. I mean, Raku, Hyper Misao, Willow Nightingale, even with some time off and time between, I think it kind of catches up to her a little bit. And should be noted, this is a rematch from Standalone 2026. I think Rika Tatsumi replicates the prior success in this run, and I'm gonna pick Rika Tatsumi to advance.
Always an interesting chapter in this never-ending book. Maybe it's a little bit of a one-sided book. I think we know who's writing the book, but always an entertaining matchup between these two when it does happen. In the bottom section here, the quarterfinal matchup that you had set, Arisu Endo facing off against Wakana Uehara, two competitors that are really on a roll here of late and definitely gaining steam, title challenges. Who would you have here in this quarterfinal matchup between Arisu and Wakana?
It's like you can see my notes. um, so this is where the matchups of Summer Sun Princess and the outcomes of Summer Sun Princess will really come into play. You'll notice that during the preview tags, you have Daisy Monkey versus Uehara-san and, various partners. And you can sort of see that Endu-san is almost not trying to like protect Suzume, but very much so being adamant to really test Uehara-san and really challenge her. And it kind of like she gets overzealous in this last matchup they had where she actually accidentally kicks Suzume in the face, costing them the match. Imagine if after that, Suzume then loses to Uehara-san as Summer Sun Princess, and then Endu-san gets a chance at her own redemption here in this tournament against the International Princess Champion Wakana Uehara. That is a lot. And for someone like Arisu Endu, especially with, like, for example, she's up against Aja Khan at Summer Sun Princess. Imagine if she wins, right? So she's like, okay, I'm this world beater. I'm this enforcer. I'm going to avenge my friend and also right my wrong from that last tag team match they had. I am going to pick Arisu Endu to advance in this matchup.
It's an interesting thought to see if there is like trying to avenge that miscommunication that you bring up. I love that you bring that up. And then also just Arisu, whatever ends up happening with her come Summer Sun Princess, if she is able to defeat Aja Kong, I mean, that sets her up to come into this tournament on cloud nine with all of the momentum, with all of the bravado, if you will. But if she does lose, finding a way to bounce back herself, and then if Suzume also loses, maybe avenge her Daisy Monkey tag partner as well. So on this side of the bracket, you got Rika and you have Arisu. On the right side of the bracket, the upper right, the quarterfinal matchup, you have Toga in another really powerful matchup between these two competitors. If we see it, Toga and Yuki Aino.
I feel like Toga and Mirai actually win at Summer Sun Princess. And full disclosure, I actually met Mirai after the Shoko Pro show that I was able to referee. Shouts to Emi Sakura-san. Appreciate you so much for that opportunity. Yeah, I think Toga and Mirai get it done at Summer Sun Princess. I think Yuki Aino gets revenge here in the tournament, and Yuki Aino moves on.
Okay, and then is she going to meet coming out of the bottom right section Suzume, or will it be Yuki Rai?
I will admit that I think this tournament, depending on the results, can be loaded with a lot of really cool matchups and a lot of really great matches. Um, Outside of like a potential final where so much is at stake, I feel like Suzume versus Yuki Arai could be the most entertaining match of the entire tournament. I mean, it could potentially be champion versus champion. Also to note, this is a rematch from the 2025 International Princess Championship match. And also both as champions, they're so used to getting everyone's best shot. I think they're going to give each other their best shot here. And I think almost like this is not about the tournament. This is about who is really in control of this company. You know, as an international princess champion, to get a win over the Princess of Princess champion, tournament or not, massively huge for your career. Now obviously back in 2025, Suzume won that contest and she took the belt she currently has. She lost it and reclaimed it back then, if anyone was wondering. But I think we've seen a lot of growth in Yuki Arai since then. I think the Yuki boots will catch up to Suzume, and I think Yuki Arai will advance here. But that's one, if it happens, I will be watching it very closely.
It's interesting because I think should both Suzume and Arai retain at Summer Sun Princess, this will be the first time in my memory that we will have the International Princess Champion and the Princess of Princess Champion in a singles contest. Obviously, no belts will be on the line, but an interesting construct of a match that we might potentially see come these quarterfinals. So your final four nets out to be Rika Tatsumi, Arisu Endo, and then two Yukis, Yuki Aino and Yuki Arai. Quite a formidable final four. So on the left side between Rika and Arisu, who do you have advancing into the finals?
So yeah, in this matchup, you have the 2025 runner-up of the Princess Cup tournament, Arisu Endo. She gets to the final four yet again. That's what I have in my picks, at least. Rika Tatsumi has been to the final four 2 different times before, but has never advanced to the final. I'm thinking that this one, the third time, is a charm. They haven't had the singles match since 2022. And in addition, this is actually 10 years since Rika Tatsumi's first entry into the Princess Cup tournament. I think all that experience will accumulate. I have Tatsumi-san advancing to the finals.
It is the one thing on her resume that seems to be missing is that Tokyo Princess Cup victory, the first ever Grand Slam champion, and the second ever Grand Slam champion. Her Daydream tag partner, Miyu Watanabe, has won essentially every major tournament except for the Next Gen tournament. So I'm sure that's something that never comes up between them, and I'm sure that Rika would love to be able to level the playing field there. So it's an excellent pick. On the right side, you have the battle of two Yukis. We've already seen a battle of two Yukis not too long ago. This one will feature Yuki Arai going up against a different Yuki in Yuki Aino.
And fun fact, I counted, I think it was 42 Yuki boots between the Yuki-sans in that Yuki on Yuki violent.
There's quite a number of them, yeah.
That was a lot of, I think I missed one. So I think I had 41, but I think I missed one. So I'm going to go 42 on that one. Aino-san was a finalist in 2024 of the Princess Cup tournament. Yuki Arai has never been to the finals, but is a 3-time semifinalist. So the third time for her was not a charm. I am picking Yuki, wait for it, drumroll, Aino in an upset.
All right. So that sets up your 13th annual Tokyo Princess Cup finals to be the White Dragon, Rika Tatsumi, taking on the Burning Venus, Yuki Aino. Who, good sir, do you have becoming the 13th Tokyo Princess Cup winner?
Okay, so typical pro wrestler move here. I'm going to talk for a long time before I give you any sort of finality.
Give us a
to
little
this tournament.
filibuster.
All right, here you go. These two have a ton of history, and it took me a long time to sort through all the history. As you guys might know, Rika Tatsumi started wrestling in 2014 with Yuki Aino starting in 2028. In 2020, in the Princess Cup tournament, Yuki Aino beat Rika Tatsumi in round 2. In 2020, also, the Bakuretsu sisters, Aino-san and her sister, Tenma-san, beat Daydream for the Princess Tag titles at Wrestle Princess. In the Princess Max Heart Tournament 2022 final, Daydream beat the Bakuretsu sisters in the finals. Summer Sun Princess 2023, Rika Tatsumi retained the International Princess Championship against Yuki Aino. Lastly, Rika Tatsumi won in Austin 2026 and also fed Yuki Aino some popcorn on the steps there, if you remember that.
I forgot about that. I don't know how I forgot about that, but that's tremendous. But that's a part of the research.
Absolutely. Shout outs to the young lady who stepped in to buy Rika Tatsumi's popcorn because she was waiting in
Yes.
line, if you'll remember. And she was like, no, I'll take care of it. Just take this now. And she walks away with the popcorn.
Once in a lifetime experience.
Absolutely.
Almost on par with getting yanked out of the way by Hyper Misao so she can slide down a banister. I wonder who that happened to.
And me in the ring trying not to laugh, seeing it all unfold. So another set of and just to continue here, they have actually wrestled each other 60 times.
Incredible.
It sounds like a made up number, but yes, 60 times. Rika Tatsumi won the first one, which actually was a singles match between the two. They've only had 4 singles matches. Rika Tatsumi has 3 singles victory, and Yuki Aino only has 1 singles victory. The total record against each other, Rika Tatsumi has 31 wins, whereas Yuki Aino has 27 wins. They also have 2 time limit draws.
It's pretty deadlocked.
Yeah, so I mean, it's fairly even. But again, those singles victories, 3 for Rika Tatsumi, 1 for Yuki Aino. It's also to note as a team, when they're on the same team, they're 18-8, so they do have a very good record when teaming together. Lastly, maybe we see the return of the great Wakabayashi-kun here. I don't know. Maybe not.
That would be a wild card. Can you imagine? My goodness.
That would be wild. Having said that, my pick here is Rika Tatsumi. She finally gets it done. She finally gets the big one.
Finally gets the big one. I think this is a very interesting matchup should it come to pass. Very different than mine. I have Daisy Monkey exploding here in the finals, which I think could be another interesting matchup. But I do really like this because I think it provides Rika to get that last accomplishment that is missing from her trophy case in the Tokyo Princess Cup, arguably like one of the biggest accomplishments within TJPW. So I think it sets her up very nicely. I know also having been to the finals in 2024 and then falling up just a little bit short to Aniki. So it would be lovely to see her get back into the finals again. But that's, I mean, one heck of a matchup. And in the way that your bracket has fallen here, there are a number of terrific matchups really all throughout. But ultimately, giving the crown, the cup to Rika Tatsumi, certainly a terrific pick. I think that this year is wide open in terms of who could win this. And I think Rika Tatsumi, a little bit of a dark horse, a little bit of a dark dragon, maybe we'll say. This has been a joy. Before we go, obviously we know that you are a working referee. You're doing a lot with TJPW, with other promotions. Would love to just give you the floor for a minute to see where you're going to be next, maybe certain shows that people can tune into to catch a glimpse of you working, and then also your social media handles as well if people want to keep up the tabs with what you're doing on social and where they can find you refereeing in a wrestling ring.
Yeah. Man, you can find me on Instagram and X under Mike Full, as in like a cup is full, and black, the color black. Yeah, the next thing I will be doing is watching Summer Sun Princess. That's the next thing I'll be doing. Also I'll be working at One Fall Wrestling. It's 2 sets of TV tapes we have coming up, and those will be airing on Triller TV. And definitely feel free to check those out. But yeah, I am all over the place, but I am definitely would just like to take a quick second there to say a huge thank you to Cyberfight Tokyo Joshi Pro for having me a part of their process, a part of their shows in now 3 different countries in 2026 alone. And you never know where I'm going to pop up next. Do not hold your breath or anything. Nothing soon. I'm not saying anything soon is happening. I'm just saying I'm looking forward to seeing where this relationship goes. But I'm more excited to see Summer Sun Princess this weekend. And hopefully you'll tune in as well and watch along with me. But thank you so much also for your time here. Tokyo Joshi Pod, one of the best. Something I do try to get my little info on and everything, and you're definitely one of the homies as well. So thanks for being a friend, and thanks for giving me this platform and opportunity. I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Absolutely. Your check will be in the mail for saying that too. So thank you for coming on. Always a pleasure talking to you, my friend. We'll catch you soon.
Yes, job up today.
So there you have it. I want to thank all 4 of my guests, Mike, AJ, I guess technically 5 guests, Mike, AJ, Matt and Andy, and Jason. I had such a pleasure recording with them and inviting them on. It was such a joy for me. I hope that you all enjoyed that just as much as I enjoyed bringing it to you. That is not where our show ends today, however. We have to preview a huge show, Summer Sun Princess 2-6. Before we even get to the Tokyo Princess Cup, we have one of the biggest shows of the summer, one of the biggest shows of the year for TJPW. This year's Summer Sun Princess will be on Saturday, July 18th from Corcoran Hall. It is live on Wrestle Universe. It's going to start around 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Pacific on Friday night. We do have a couple of absences. This is the day that Kira Summer starts her Australian excursion, so she will unfortunately not be appearing. Of course, Shino Suzuki remains out due to her leave of absence. And then I believe that Fumarine is also missing this show due to a scheduling conflict. It's going to be probably a rough go for Mr. Haku because Kira's not there, Fumarine's not there. Maybe Kamiyu will join him on English commentary at some point. Perhaps we also get Bali and Aki, but that being said, we will have English commentary for this. Mr. Haku will be there. He always does a terrific job. So we'll be able to enjoy this with a little bit of added context as we watch along. Our opening contest will be a tag team match. Momo Sato, her re-debut. Momo Sato will team up with Shion Kanzaki to take on Ren Kanatsu and Uda Takami, a clash of some of the more recently debuted women in TJPW. Now, for an opener, I think this is going to be great. I'm actually quite looking forward to it. I think that Shion has looked tremendous since her debut. Ren just recently passed her first anniversary, I think about a month ago, and she's really starting to come into her own nicely. Uda, I mean, nothing needs to be said about Uda. She's been excellent too. And quite frankly, Momo Sato looked really impressive in that Iron Man Battle Royal, like Grand Princess. Just imagine what she can do with some like actual training under her belt. They've paired up the 2 newest wrestlers together, which kind of easily makes me feel like Momo is going to lose in her debut. Perhaps she's going to get pinned by Uda, who is strangely the most senior member in this matchup, but maybe they'll also have Ren pick up a win. I think that would be really cool as well. Ultimately here, my pick is going to be Ren and Uda. I think that they're just going to have that little extra bit of experience over Momo and Shion, but I mean, I think Momo is going to look really great. I think she's going to turn some heads. Remember, not only is she relatively new to this, she's only 15. And to me, that's just so impressive when you have someone of that age being able to get in the ring really with adult women. I mean, Ren is in her late 20s. I know Uda's a little bit younger. I think Shion's in her mid 20s, but it's just so impressive to be able to see these young women get into the ring. And really, it looks like they've been wrestling forever. I know that Momo has an older brother in DDT, and I'm sure that has played a little bit of a factor in her upbringing. But that being said, I do think Momo is probably losing this match. That's typically what happens in TJPW with a new debut. Speaking of debuts, we are going to have a TJPW debut in the next matchup, a 6-woman tag. Himawari, Mifu Ishida, and Sakura Hirota are going to tag together. They're going to take on Rakupam and Chika Nanase. Hirota tossed like right into the circus that is Rakupam, Himawari, Mifu Ishida. Like, she's going to fit in like a glove. I remember when this match got announced, Chika was like quite upset about being thrust in the middle of all of these goofballs, but that makes me wonder whether she's going to like join in on some of the fun or if maybe she'll just play it straight and be like the straight man in the comedy. I think it's very possible that Hirota also comes in cosplay. That's like her shtick. I think it'd be fun to see her imitate any of the other ladies in this matchup, truthfully, but it's also possible she just comes as herself. I think she does a pretty good job with comedy wrestling when she just appears as herself. Either way, like I said, I think that she will fit in like a glove. I think that her personality and her persona just feels like tailor-made for TJPW, especially with the likes of some of her counterparts in this tag match. I'm going to pick Himawari, Mifu, and Hirota to get the win. I think that outsiders hardly ever lose when they get invited into TJPW, and I feel like there's going to be some miscommunication between Chika and Rakupam. I think that might be the beginning of the end for that team. Next up will be a big-time tag team match, a hard-hitting tag team match. Prism Greed, Yuki Aino, and Haru Kazushiro teaming together once again. They're going to take on the team of Toga and Mirai. Mirai coming back from standalone just last month where she actually faced Haru Kazushiro. She pairs up here with a recent opponent of hers in Toga. And I remember saying when we covered the singles match between Toga and Mirai that, like, in an alternate universe, when Mirai never left TJPW, these two would be a tag team. I think that they just seem to have a similar fighting style, a little bit of a similar look to them. I just think that they are going to fit together really well, and here we are. They're tag teaming together. Kind of feels like Haru is going to be taking quite a lot of lariats. I kind of feel like this team of Toga and Mirai can have some legs, if I'm being honest. We'll have to see how they work together when Saturday rolls around, but it feels like a really good pairing on paper to me. And Toga, of course, has a tag team partner in Yuna Manase with Hot Shot, but Yuna is currently out of action for an extended period of time as she tends to a few medical issues, and maybe Mirai can be a short-term partner for Toga here for a little bit. I'm ultimately going to pick Toga and Mirai, and I'm going to go one step further, and I'm going to say that they end up challenging, whether on this show or a future show, for the Princess Tag titles. I think they might get a shot. Wouldn't that be one heck of a match to see Mirai and Toga face off against Daydream, or even Kiraku Kiyome if they manage to pick up the titles? I would be more than happy to see either of those matches in the future. Now talk about a hard-hitting match, because next up on the show, we will have a singles contest between Aja Kong and Arisu Endo. What a doozy this is going to be. Arisu is in for one heck of a match, but if anybody can live up to the billing, I think it's Arisu. Aja making her return here from May. We saw her at the Yes Wonderland show. Aja's always good for a high-profile singles match, and I think that these two are going to play off each other really nicely. In the Grand Princess behind-the-scenes documentary, they had a really nice moment between the two of them, and I kind of wonder if that had anything to do with this match coming to be. Maybe that TJPW kind of capitalized on that endearing moment between the two of them. Now, I've seen more than a few people think that Arisu pulls off the big upset here, and I suppose that's possible. Personally, I'm leaning towards an Aja victory, so I'm going to pick Aja Kong. I think that Arisu is going to look tremendous in defeat, but Aja rarely ever loses a singles match. She just lost to Senka Akatsuki from Marvelous in Las Vegas during WrestleMania week, but that to me was like the culmination of a story that dated back to the Marvelous show in Vegas from 2025. So it just felt like it was a little bit more longer term of a story that they were telling. Now, don't get me wrong. I'd love it if Arisu manages to pull out the victory. It just feels a little bit more like an Aja win for me. Our next match will be a 6-person mixed tag team match. This will be the start of Yuki Kamifuku's retirement road. She is going to team with Sakura Hattori and Kumadori from DDT, I believe, and they will take on Mihiro Kiryu, Sanshiro Takagi from DDT, of course, one of the employees at Cyberfight overseeing TJPW, and then Yumehito Imanari from Ganbare Pro. The Kamiyu retirement road is getting started here in a very fun way. Obviously, this is going to be all about her. I would be surprised if it's not. Truthfully, I'm not too familiar with Kumadori or Yumehito. So it's a little hard for me to figure out like just how they're going to factor in, but I imagine it'll be mixed tag rules since there's an uneven number of men and women on both teams. So I would venture to guess you get a couple of the ladies interacting with a couple of the guys at certain points. Yumehito has actually wrestled in TJPW before. He wrestled in 2023 on a TJPW show. Sanshiro Takagi, in addition to being a company employee, he has also wrestled on a TJPW show at the Malaysia show that took place at the end of last year. This will be Kumadori's TJPW debut, however. Kamiyu and Sakura proved to be like an interesting pairing a few weeks ago when they teamed together, and I think it's going to be fun to see them kind of continue to play off one another. Kamiyu said that Sakura is included in this one because she doesn't have many friends. So I wonder if that's obviously her joking, but I wonder if there's like Kamiyu kind of seeing something in the young ninja as an up and comer. Maybe Kamiyu was like, no, I think this girl's got something. Mihiro and Sanshiro feel like a fun team too together. Mihiro vibes well, honestly, with everyone, but I'm sure we'll see her mix it up with Kamiyu quite a bit. I almost wonder if Mihiro is going to be Kamiyu's like farewell opponent towards the end of the month, or the end of the year, I should say. To me, it feels like it would either be Mihiro or Wakana. I'm sure they'll do the classic like 1 versus 27 handicap match that we see all the time, but we got a long way to go before we get there. We'll have to wait and see. This is Kamiyu's retirement road. I'm picking Kamiyu, Sakura, and Kumadori. I don't think that Kamiyu is losing too often until maybe we get a little bit closer to her final days with the company. Our final undercard match, yet another tremendous singles match. Mizuki will be taking on Willow Nightingale from AEW. What a fun surprise that this turned out to be. Willow has not wrestled in TJPW since Grand Princess 2025, where she defeated Miyu Watanabe. I think her and Mizuki can have a lot of fun together, putting on a really great match. The size difference will certainly come into play, and I bet we see pretty good whirling candy from Mizuki too. This is one I could see going either way, because Mizuki like hardly ever loses in TJPW, but I said this earlier, most of the time when TJPW brings in an outsider, they tend to win. So I'm going to pick Willow. I think her size just proves to be a little too much, and we get one of those rare Mizuki defeats here. Our first of 3 title matches will see the International Princess title on the line. Suzume in her V4 defense will take on Wakana Uehara in her first challenge for a singles title in TJPW. Now Suzume, 3 other defenses coming against Sakura Hattori, Haru Kazushiro, and Mihiro Kiryu. She will be champion for 111 days walking into this event. I was pretty surprised to learn that these 2 ladies are fairly deadlocked. We've had 4 preview tags. They were split 2 apiece, and Wakana actually submitted Suzume in one of those preview tags. Previous head-to-head singles matches, they are also deadlocked. They've each won one of those matches, so this will be the 3rd time that they are meeting together, and the winner is going to get a slight edge. Wakana, of course, announced her challenge last month at Standalone. Bit of a bumpy road to get here, in my opinion. We started out really hot, but we got a little derailed with the whole like crying thing. But that said, I think they rescued it pretty nicely last week. I feel like Suzume just won this title, but I guess in reality it was like 4 months ago now, which is crazy. With how high TJPW is on Wakana, I'm kind of thinking, like, does it make sense to freshen up the title? I'm also, of course, factoring in Suzume being my pick to win the Tokyo Princess Cup. Of course, my thoughts on the other 2 matches that we're going to get to here. I'm going to pick Wakana. I think that they pulled the trigger on Wakana. She had a great Princess Tag title run where, don't forget, she was the one responsible for a number of those title defenses in that Princess Tag title run. She's also won the Max Heart tournament. She's really expanding her brand on YouTube. Her English is getting really good. It kind of feels like the right time for them to just further elevate someone from that next generation, Wakana, from the class of 2023. Kind of feels like it's going to be a coming out party for Wakana. Feels to me like it's going to be her crowning moment. So I am picking Wakana here. I do think there's a world where Suzume retains, but for me, I just think it's time to elevate someone, and Wakana's had one heck of a year. Why not elevate her? The semi-final matchup will be for the Princess Tag Team titles. Daydream, Miyu Watanabe, and Rika Tatsumi will make their second defense against Kiraku Kiyome, Shoko Nakajima, and Hyper Misao, 2 competitors that have been tag champions once before themselves. The only other Daydream defense came against Mizuki and Uda Takami just last month. We've had a number of previews for this. We've had 5 preview matches for this one. Kiraku Kiyome actually held pretty strong advantage coming out of those. They had 3 victories to Daydream's 1 victory. There's also a time limit draw in one of those matches. We've also had quite a few direct pinfalls. Hyper Misao has pinned Miyu Watanabe in the lead-up, Shoko has pinned Rika Tatsumi, and then Miyu has pinned Shoko Nakajima. Kiraku Kiyome were nominated by Daydream, and we had a long and winding road to acceptance that was filled with Sasamata poles, disguises, some theft, chairs, corner pads. We saw a whole lot of stuff going into the lead-up of this. I'm sure some of those things are going to come into play in this match as well. Of course, we'll probably see the Hypermobile too. Watch out, Mihiro. Kiraku Kiyome is always like a fan favorite team, and somehow they always feel a bit underdoggy. But I also feel like we're just too soon into this Daydream title reign. Daydream has talked quite a bit about setting a defense record for these belts, getting tag team entrance music, and I know that gets bandied about casually with a lot of people, but it feels like it might be true in this case. I don't see any other major plans on the horizon for Rika or for Miyu, so why not keep them busy with the Princess Tag titles for the rest of the year? I'm going to pick Daydream to retain. I think that this match is going to be equal parts good wrestling and equal parts insanity. Now on to the main event. The Princess of Princess title is on the line. Yuki Arai, in her 4th defense, will take on the ace, the leader, the pink striker, Miyu Yamashita, a former 4-time Princess of Princess champion. Arai's previous defenses came against J-Rod in Las Vegas, Arisu Endo, and Yuki Kamifuku. So quite a strong list of previous defenses there with the names of those competitors. Walking into this, Arai will be champion for 111 days. We've had 4 preview tags for this matchup as well. These were also split pretty even, 2 apiece, no direct pinfalls for either of these ladies, but then looking back at the history of their head-to-head record, that is completely owned by Miyu Yamashita. They have met 3 times before. Yamashita has won all 3 of those times. Yamashita also announced her challenge just last month at Standalone. Now, I said this the moment that Yamashita challenged for this title. This has absolutely nothing to do with her. This is all about Yuki Arai overcoming the leader, the ace of the promotion, climbing that mountain, avenging her loss, and cementing herself as the champion of this company. She lost to Yamashita back in December, was embarrassed by her, as a matter of fact, losing, it was like 75 seconds or something that she lost in. She did get the win back in a very huge way in January, submitting Yamashita to the Scorpion Lock. That set her up, of course, to be the number 1 contender. She goes on to dethrone Miyu Watanabe at Grand Princess, but what a way it would be to truly wash away the stink of that embarrassing 75-second loss, beating the ace of the company, maybe even submitting her on the biggest show of the summer. You'd have to think that would go a very long way in quieting some of those Arai doubters. I think they have one heck of a match. I'm sure Arai will get her butt kicked, but keep on getting up and fighting, and that's kind of the theme of her as a champion. That's what she did against Watanabe. That's what she did against J-Rod. It's very like John Cena-esque in that sense, like never giving up. The other thing I think they've done really well in the lead up is building up the Scorpion Lock. I think they've built that up so much that to me that becomes the finish. I think Arai finally avenges that December loss. She overcomes the mountain that is the ace of the promotion, Miyu Yamashita, and she does it by submitting Yamashita with the Scorpion Lock. One heck of a show that has come together here. I'm really, really excited for it this weekend. And again, Wrestle Universe, it will be on Friday night for us here in the States, 10 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. Listen to me. I'm going to be watching this one. I truly can't wait. The card has just come together so nicely. That's not the only show that we have this weekend. That we've talked at length about the Tokyo Princess Cup, which is kicking off on Monday, July 20th. The first round of that will be at the Act City Hamamatsu. This is also going to be live on Wrestle Universe, so we're talking the night before, Sunday night. Heck of a way to end the weekend. This one's a little bit later, though. It will be at 1 a.m. Eastern Time, so 1 a.m. on Monday morning, or if you're on the West Coast like myself, 10 p.m. on Sunday night. I want to just quickly talk about the match card for this show. Of course, we talked all about the Princess Cup matches at length, so we won't spend too much time on those, but there are a couple of extra matches that have been added as well. We're going to have a three-way contest between Rika Tatsumi, Mihiro Kiryu, and Chika Nanase. I mean, Chika can't catch a break this weekend, my goodness. First she has Rakupam, Himawari, Mifu, and Sakura Hirota. Now she's got to deal with Mihiro and Rika, so prayers out to Chika. We're also going to see a 6-woman tag. Kiraku Kiyome will team with Himawari. They're going to take on the team of Pam Harajuku, Yuki Aino, and Yuki Kamifuku. I'm sure Kamiyu is also thrilled with who she's matched up with here. Gracefully bows out of this year's Princess Cup, and she's given Pam as a tag team partner instead. So goes to show you, right? You got to participate in the Princess Cup. The rest of the matches will be all of the first round matches for the Tokyo Princess Cup. Haru Kazushiro versus Yuki Arai in a first-time meeting. Suzume versus Shion Kanzaki, also a first-time meeting. Toga versus Momosato, obviously first-time singles meeting there. Wakana Uehara and Mifu Ishida, they've met once before with Wakana getting the victory. Arisu Endo versus Sakura Hattori, they've met twice before. They've actually shared 1 win apiece, so adds even kind of more history to that very, very highly anticipated first round matchup. Raku will take on Mizuki. They've met twice before. Mizuki has won both of those contests. Uda Takami and Miyu Yamashita, surprisingly a first-time singles matchup. They've never met one-on-one. Poor Uda. I can look at this matchup so many times, and I could just see from the press conference the look of terror on Uda's face when she realized who she had, who drew her as an opponent. I'm kind of morbidly looking forward to it, but at the same time, also going to send some prayers up to Uda for that one. The final singles matchup on this show will be Miyu Watanabe and Ren Kanatsu. They have met once before, with Miyu Watanabe winning that matchup. So an insanely loaded weekend for TJPW between Summer Sun Princess, the first round of the Princess Cup. There is a heck of a lot of other wrestling going on this weekend. The Stardom 5-Star Grand Prix starts up. Sendai Girls has a big-time show. I believe that the G1 is going on for New Japan. So, I mean, how lucky are we to have all of these tournaments, all of these shows, all of these matches to look forward to. It's going to be a busy weekend in the wrestling world. I'm going to skip over graduates and excursions today. There's nothing new to talk about, so we'll circle back on those next week. That being said, that will bring us to the end of this mammoth-sized episode. Thank you so much for sticking all the way to this point if you're still listening. I'm going to give you, the listener, my cold spray and my ice packs this week, because if you've made it through the length of this episode, you earn that as your prize. On next week's episode, we'll review Summer Sun Princess and the opening round of the Tokyo Princess Cup. We'll also preview round 2 and the quarterfinals of the tournament. And we'll also check in on this upcoming Tokyo Idol Festival collab. That's supposed to happen next weekend as well. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, you can subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss any future episodes. You can follow us at Tokyo Joshi Pod on Instagram, TikTok, and X. If you want to email the show, tokyojoshipod@gmail.com. But above all else, remember to keep your hearts burning, stay magical, my friends, and we'll see you next week on the Tokyo Joshi Pod.